Beaya's past life was a series of misfortunes, as she was constantly harmed by her husband and his lover. Even her family faced continuous danger to free Beaya. During the time she was harmed to the point of becoming a vegetable, there was always someone secretly protecting her, and that was Pichuan. He also had an extremely unfortunate fate. At the age of 4, he was attacked by villains seeking revenge on his father, who cut off Pichuan's legs, leaving him permanently disabled. Carrying the grievances of her death, this time, when she opened her eyes, Beaya was shocked to realize that she had transmigrated back to the age of 4. What Beaya cared about was the man from her previous life, whom she had never noticed, but who was willing to risk his life for her and protect her throughout his life, Pichuan. In this life, Beaya will decide to protect Pichuan in the same way he protected her in her previous life, and secretly vows to remember all the enemies who caused her suffering. Let us follow Lisa Manhwa to see how the new lives of Beaya and Pichuan will unfold. In the vast space, the children happily ran outside. Ice cream, I can eat it too. I want to eat it too. Teacher Zhao was changing Pichuan's clothes when she suddenly saw this scene. She quickly stood up and ran towards the children. That is, hail, you can't eat it. Pichuan saw that Teacher Zhao had left and could only try his best to pull up his pants and change. Teacher Zhao strictly instructed the children, don't eat hail, understand? If children eat hail, they won't grow taller. But the children were still very innocent. Teacher, will I not grow taller anymore? On the other side, the nanny gently patted the children's heads. Of course not. Remember to eat a lot of rice when you go home this afternoon, and you will be fine. The children quickly looked at Pichuan, making him somewhat embarrassed. One child quickly announced to everyone, look, Pichuan peed in his pants, he peed all over the ground. This made the other children immediately become astonished and look back at him with some disgust. I stopped wetting my pants when I was 3 years old. The children continued to discuss animatedly. Mom said that kids who pee in their pants are dirty. He is still wearing those pants, look at where he peed. Pichuan became extremely flustered by this scene, but could not do anything else. Tears kept streaming down his face. I did not do it on purpose. I did not do it on purpose. But these kids were still constantly mocking the pitiful Pichuan. He does not have legs, and he peed in his pants too. Let us not play with him anymore. If we play with him, we will pee in our pants too. The noise gradually woke Beaya up. She was a little surprised and reached out to touch her forehead in confusion. Didn't I die already? Where is this? Voices kept ringing in her ears. Pichuan is too dirty. I do not want to sit in front of Pichuan anymore. She quickly turned her head to look at the situation. At this time, the nanny also slowly pushed Pichuan out. Everyone, go back to your seats. I will go tell your parents to come and pick you up. Looking at his pitiful face, Beaya immediately recognized him. Pichuan. Her face gradually became dazed. This is Pichuan, when he was young. She remembered this man from her previous life. 18 years later, he was a crazy and stubborn computer genius. Beaya also had a lot of connections with Pichuan. It was Pichuan who saved me from the Huo family's fire pit and protected me for 2 years, when I was at my most desperate and helpless. At that time, Pichuan had said to her, Beaya, I will protect you for the rest of your life. Thinking of this, looking at the pitiful Pichuan in reality, Beaya was very thoughtful. Provided that Pichuan did not leave any important traces before I died, and now he is just a weak child who just lost his legs. Outside, the children's families were also rushing to pick up their children. What kind of weird weather is this? It is sunny in the morning and hailing in the afternoon. The children who were picked up by their families were very happy. Goodbye, Teacher Zhao. She smiled and waved goodbye. Goodbye, Xiao Wei. Goodbye, Lili. At this moment, Yilan also stepped forward, smiling and calling out, Yao Yao, Mom's here to pick you up. Seeing Beaya appear, she was very moved and her eyes welled up with tears. Mom? Seeing her so pitiful, she quickly picked her up. My darling, why are you crying? Were you scared by the hail? Beaya quickly shook her head. Before leaving this place, she did not forget to turn her head and look back. Pichuan was still sitting there alone. Pichuan's mother is a surgeon and is busy until late at night when she has an operation. His father is the captain of the criminal police team and is also very busy with work. Just thinking about his pitiful fate made Beaya feel somewhat sorry for him. She silently pondered, looking at the back of the little boy. The temperature is dropping tonight. This is the coldest time of this summer night. She thought with some contemplation, remembering the memories of her past life. In his previous life, Pichuan could not wait for anyone in this world. Time shifted to the next morning. Teacher Zhao was a little surprised. Didn't Yao Yao ask for sick leave? Why did you bring her to class, Mom? Yulan sighed and explained. That is right. She usually refuses to step out of the door no matter what. Today she insisted on going to school even when she is sick. She smiled and led Beaya inside. Then Yao Yao, go into the classroom with me. She did not forget to wave goodbye. Goodbye, Mom. Remembering something, Teacher Zhao smiled and reminded, Yao Yao, if you do not feel well, just tell me, okay? Don't be like yesterday. Beaya smiled and nodded, knowingly. Yes, teacher, I know. Inside the classroom, the sounds of children playing happily kept ringing out. Take the handkerchief, take the handkerchief. Go very gently behind the little friend. A gentle breeze blew past. Beaya stared at Pichuan. Friends, do not tell him. Seeing Beaya appear, the children kept waving and calling, Yao Yao, come play games with us. She thought in surprise. In my previous life, I did not come to kindergarten on this day. But after today, Pichuan did not open his mouth to say a word anymore, and even refused to come to kindergarten. She felt very curious about the boy right in front of her. So what exactly did Pichuan experience today? The children inside the kindergarten were still playing happily. Take the handkerchief. Take the handkerchief. Put it very gently, behind the little friend. A mischievous boy came up with an idea after looking at Pichuan. Friends, do not tell him. The handkerchief immediately aimed straight at Pichuan. The room instantly became silent. All the children turned their gaze towards Pichuan. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, Pichuan slowly bent over, trying to pick up the handkerchief. The boy laughed gleefully, teasing him. This made Beaya on the side become very worried. Don't pick it up. You do not need to pick it up. He stubbornly used all his strength to pick up the handkerchief. Outside, the birds were constantly singing, in the summer of 5 years old. In the vast space of the classroom, Pichuan tried to control the wheelchair. Pichuan was like a trapped beast. He looked very small and pitiful, frustrated and desperate as he controlled the wheelchair to chase after them. But the little boy kept laughing and mocking. You are going in the wrong direction. You are so stupid. Outside at this time, the birds were singing sweetly. Beaya pondered, there are many childhood memories that I do not remember when I grow up. Seeing Pichuan in front of her, she felt sorry for him. To me, Pichuan is just a disabled boy without legs. If he had not become a demon and protected me, I probably would not have paid much attention to him in this life. Laughter kept ringing out, come and catch me, you can't catch me. Pichuan was silent and helpless. Beaya on this side seemed to have made a decision. Pichuan is the demon of the world, but he is also my benefactor. Without thinking much, she rushed over and hugged the big boy's leg. This made him unable to escape, and he called out in confusion, Let go, Beaya, what are you doing? Beaya stubbornly looked at the boy. You can't go. After struggling for a while without effect, the boy finally cried out helplessly. Seeing the boy cry made Beaya have trouble knowing what to do. She turned her head and looked at Pichuan, who was sitting there quietly, and secretly signaled, Pichuan, hurry, hurry and catch him. He was somewhat thoughtful when he looked at the scene just now. Suddenly, Pichuan dropped the handkerchief to the ground. He ignored the boy and his friends who were still crying there and went in another direction. Pichuan's actions also made Beaya become confused and awkward. Hearing strange movements, Teacher Zhao also slowly walked in and picked up. Beaya, why are you crying, Yao Yao? Why are you lying on the ground? Get up. Pichuan controlled the wheelchair to a corner of the room. It is almost the end of class, and my parents still have not come today. Teacher Zhao on the side was still constantly comforting the children. Don't cry anymore. Be good. If you cry, you will turn into a little cat. He continued to look at the children who were gradually stopping crying. Those two are the most welcomed in kindergarten. Chen Hu knows how to make jokes and often leads his friends to play. Feng Minjun is very beautiful. The children started to have fun again. Chen Hu, do not cry anymore. Let us play origami. We will fold airplanes. Pichuan continued to turn his head and looked in one direction. That little girl with sparkling eyes is the youngest girl in kindergarten, and she also lives in the same neighborhood as me. Beiyao's image hit him right in the eyes. She likes to cry, is weak, and gets sick easily. Everyone calls her Yao Yao. Time passed. It was time to go home. The man walked in smiling. Chen Hu, your dad is here. Chen Hu happily turned his head and waved, Goodbye, teacher. Teacher Zhao also smiled, Goodbye. Before leaving, Chen Hu did not forget to mock, No one will come to pick you up. This made Pichuan angry and clenched his fist. Beaya on the side had also witnessed the entire scene. You naughty thing. She slowly picked up the airplane and brought it to Pichuan. Here you go. She was trying to be as friendly as possible with him. My name is Beaya. Our houses are close to each other. Let us go home together. Pichuan threw the paper airplane in another direction with an unpleasant attitude. Get away. I do not need you. The paper airplane flew straight out into the yard, quite a distance from them. Beaya immediately ran straight towards the paper airplane without thinking much. Holding the airplane in her hand, she was a little tired and panting. But even so, the smile on Beya's face was still innocent as she let go of the paper airplane. Her actions also made Pichuan feel very uncomfortable. Without thinking much, he would immediately step on the paper airplane in his hand. Looking at Beya's dazed face, he seemed to have guessed something. She will definitely cry, a devastating cry like Chen Hu, and then run to tell the teacher. Faced with Pichuan's actions, she did not show any attitude. I know. People who are hurt will be like a hedgehog, but their hearts are still soft. She did not give up, and said with a smile, if you do not want to play, let us go home. My mom did not come to pick me up either. We can go home by ourselves, okay? Seeing that Pichuan still did not respond, Beaya smiled and held out her hand to him. Let us go. Contrary to her attitude, he coldly pushed her hand aside. This action made her speechless. Pichuan, you, Beaya thought helplessly. Pichuan, you are really hard to get along with. At this moment, a familiar voice rang out. Teacher Zhao, I am so sorry, I got off work a little late today. She was startled when she heard this. Seeing Yilan appear, she smiled and shook her head to explain, it is okay, Yao Yao's mom. And quickly stepped towards Beaya and picked her up. Yao Yao, let mom give you a hug. Seeing Pichuan still sitting there, quietly made her feel somewhat sorry for him. She picked up Beaya and approached him, asking worriedly, Pichuan, do you want auntie to take you home? He still did not react. In the difficult situation, Teacher Zhao hurriedly ran over. Yao Yao's mom, you and your child go first. With no other choice, Yilan had to take Beaya back home. What karma did that couple create to make their child develop such a personality? When he saw the two had left, Pichuan's eyes became very strange. He looked at Beaya and her mother, who were still happily holding hands and going home. Opening his palm, which was full of torn pieces of paper, he was a little sad. As expected, he lied to me. Her mom came to pick her up. Just thinking about these things made him feel very helpless. Time shifted to the evening at the apartment complex. Beaya tried to prop herself up on her toes to look outside. Opposite her apartment was a reflection of the woman standing there. Seeing the figure appear in the house, she breathed a sigh of relief. Pichuan's house is lit, so he must have been taken home. She slowly climbed down to the ground. Why does it feel like I am about to have a fever? Moreover, my head is starting to hurt more and more. My memories are starting to become blurred. Beaya quickly grabbed a small notebook in her hand. I can't forget, if I do not want to repeat the same mistakes. She was trying her best to write down everything she had witnessed in her previous life. In 2010, Beaya married Huo Shu, and after the marriage, she discovered that he already had someone he truly loved. At that time, in that relationship, she was a very pitiful person, and Beaya was just a shield for him to fight against his family to protect his true love. Huo Shu is the descendant of a military man and a businessman, rich and powerful. At the same time, everything was remembered in detail by her. In order to help Beaya leave the prison of the Huo family, Zhao Yilan and Bei Lizai traveled everywhere to find someone to help, and eventually an accident occurred, and Bei became a vegetable. After writing these lines, tears of helplessness kept appearing on Beya's face. The story was gradually revealed by her again. Finally, Zhao Yilan went to beg a man, the man named Pichuan, the man who was called a demon by the whole world because the program he wrote was an existence that disrupted social stability. Even if Beaya died, she would never forget the good things that Pichuan had done for her. He had protected Beaya for 2 years, and on the day of her death, Pichuan told her that she was the person he would never dare to love in his life. The words were written very carefully by Beaya. In 2014, Beaya died cowardly, but still had to become a shield for that woman. Be good to Pichuan. Because she was too tired, she gradually fell asleep. In her previous life, Pichuan refused to go to kindergarten, also because of what happened today, so he stopped talking. So what about this life? Looking out at the sky, which was as dark as ink, she wondered, will he go tomorrow? time passed very quickly to the next morning. After finishing the lecture, Teacher Zhao smiled and announced, "Okay, class is dismissed." The students happily ran out like a flock of birds. "Let us run to the playground to play hide and seek. I won't be the seeker today." Voices rang out inside the classroom. "Fang Minjun, do you want candy?" Pichuan sat there quietly, thinking, "I am going to school." He continued to look at the empty seat next to him, but she did not go. The time in front of me has passed. Many days later. The story was gradually told by Beaya. My 4-year-old body extremely rejected the memories of my past life. After I was seriously ill, my memory stopped at the 3rd grade of elementary school. When Yilan brought Beaya to kindergarten, she smiled and instructed, "Be a good girl, Yao Yao. Listen to Teacher Zhao and let Mom go to work." She smiled obediently and nodded in agreement. "Okay, goodbye, Mom." She quickly stepped inside the classroom. But I knew that I had been reborn, and I also knew. Teacher Zhao quickly instructed, "Yao Yao, go play with your friends first, and I will get you some cookies." Beaya stepped inside the classroom. Yes, she kept searching. Where is Pichuan? Looking at the scene in front of her, she was somewhat stunned and surprised. In her heart, Beaya had told herself, "I must be good to Pichuan." Seeing him right in front of her made her notice. He looks thinner than he did a few days ago. She happily ran towards Pichuan and thought, "To me, now when I look at the world from a child's perspective, I feel that I am no longer as impatient and anxious as before. I have more desires and curiosity about the world. It is like welcoming a new life." In her heart, Beaya was secretly happy. Giving flowers to Pichuan, he will definitely understand me. At this moment, Chenhu snatched the cookie placed on Pichuan's table. He even tore the cookie right in front of Pichuan. Seeing him uncomfortable made him even more angry. "Anyway, you won't eat it, so let me eat it for you. You can't beat me anyway." Beaya was also uncomfortable seeing this scene, bullying Pichuan again. While he was still preparing to eat the cookie, Minjun approached and reminded, "His cookie is very dirty, Chenhu, do not eat it." Another boy also immediately added, "Minmin is right. Pichuan often pees in his pants, so his cookie will be very dirty." Hearing this made Chenhu throw the cookie aside. The pitiful cookie was thrown out of the ground like this, which made Pichuan very uncomfortable. He suddenly grabbed his collar, making him somewhat panicked. "You mute, what do you want to do?" The two sides pushed each other, but it seemed that Chenhu still had the upper hand. "Let go, let go." Pichuan directly opened his mouth and bit Chenhu's hand, and he kept crying loudly. The classroom gradually became chaotic, and the students also retreated in fear. "I am so scared. Pichuan is so scary, he bites people." Teacher Zhao hurriedly ran in. "What is wrong? Why are you fighting again?" She hurriedly ran towards Pichuan. "Xiaochuan, let go, do not be afraid, I am here." Chenhu was still crying and hitting Pichuan's head non-stop. His actions also made Beaya on the side freeze. "Pichuan." Teacher Zhao was still trying to comfort Pichuan's angry mood. "Xiaochuan, let go, do not be afraid, I am here." At this time, he slowly regained his senses. Realizing his actions just now, he slowly let go, and wounds also appeared on Chenhu's hands. This made Chenhu cry and shout loudly, "Teacher, go, go." Teacher Zhao heard this and hurriedly picked him up. Okay, I will take you outside. It does not hurt anymore. It does not hurt anymore." She was trying to calm Chenhu's frightened mind before the action just now. At this moment, Beaya took the lotus flower and ran over to give it to Pichuan. "Here you go." She even learned from others to say to him, "It does not hurt. It does not hurt." Beya's hands gently and softly touched his hands. Pichuan was a little dazed when he saw this scene. Beaya happily smiled. "It does not hurt, huh?" Contrary to her attitude, he gently brushed Beya's hand aside. Pichuan did not forget to take the lotus flower and slowly drop it on the table. He controlled his wheelchair to go in another direction, which made Beaya a little embarrassed. Pichuan still does not pay attention to me. The kindergarten was very chaotic at this time, and the children kept blaming. "Pichuan is a puppy, right? He still pees in his pants. Very dirty. Beaya, do not play with him anymore." Hearing these words, Beaya said uncomfortably in response to everyone, "He is not a puppy. His name is Pichuan. My mom said that Chuan is a river, and the river is very clean." Inside the room, Beya's voice kept ringing. "He is not dirty." Pichuan's immature eyes looked at her. A gentle breeze blew past, and the wind chimes rang out with pleasant sounds. Pichuan sat at the desk and looked outside. "I am not dirty." In his daily life, he has always lived very disciplined. Every time I go to the toilet, I wash my hands clean. Even without his parents by his side, he is still very mature. The way to dress that my mother taught me is not difficult for me. Pichuan recalled the moment when his father took him out. My father said that my name means the sea embraces the river. I do not understand what it means, but I know it is a good name. But one thing happened that made Pichuan become very unfortunate. My legs are gone. I have become a dirty existence, so no matter how beautiful my name is, my soul has been lost because of these legs. Time passed very quickly until the time to leave school, and the parents quickly went to pick up their children. Mom, I want to eat sausage after school, Dad. After dinner, take me to the park to play. Chenhu's parents also came and kept blaming Teacher Zhao and Pichuan. Teacher, is it this kid, that stinky kid? If anything happens to my Hu, I will beat you to death. Seeing Beaya still standing in front of Pichuan to protect him made Chenhu's mother very uncomfortable. What does this girl want? Stand aside if it is not your business. Seeing her so angry, Teacher Zhao hurriedly stepped forward to comfort her. I am sorry, Chenhu's parents. I did not take good care of the children. Hurry up and go to see Chenhu. Time has passed until half an hour later. Beaya is still sitting next to Pichuan, waiting for her relatives to pick her up. At this moment, Pichuan's mother, Zhang Wanhuan, hurriedly ran over and called out, Xiaochuan. Seeing her appear, Pichuan reacted, Mom? Seeing him change his attitude made Beaya very surprised. She gently stepped forward and rubbed his head. Let us go home, son. The actions of the two also made Beaya understand something more. Pichuan can speak, but he just speaks less. Time has quickly shifted towards the late evening, and Beaya was asking herself, I do not know when he will be willing to talk to me again. Inside the house, Wan gently asked Pichuan, Xiaochuan, I heard the teacher say, why did you bite Chenhu? Pichuan was a little helpless to explain. He robbed my cookie. His answer also made her thoughtful. There are cookies, chocolates, and other things at home. Son will not fight for the cookie. Thinking of this, Wan gently hugged Pichuan tightly in her arms. Afraid that he would be sad, she quickly reached out and rubbed his head. Mom is going to cook, and there will be food soon. Xiaochuan, do you want to eat some snacks? After speaking, Wan quickly went to the kitchen in a busy state. At this moment, the door was opened, and Pichuan's father, Pei Haobin, slowly walked in. I am home. Wan's attitude was very uncomfortable, and she did not even care about him. He continued to come closer and rub Pichuan's head to greet him. Dad is home. At this moment, he anxiously called out, Dad. Seeing him like this made Haobin feel very distressed. Suddenly, Wan slowly stood up and reminded, Xiaochuan, go to sleep. She gently picked him up, but he kept whining, Mom, I want to take a bath. Hearing this, Haobin immediately instructed him, Xiaochuan, go take a bath. Dad is too hungry. Dad will eat first. But it seemed that Wan wanted to avoid this issue. It is not too hot today, so you have not sweated much, and your body is not dirty. Let us take a bath another day. But Pichuan stubbornly repeated, I want to take a bath. Hearing these words made her suddenly stop. After a while, the water finally boiled, and Wan carefully poured the hot water into the bathtub. Pichuan slowly sat down in the hot tub. Wan's hands trembled slightly with incomprehension. Tears kept streaming down her face. He was strangely silent. Time turned back to the past. It was when Pichuan had to lie in a pool of blood. Every time I see these amputated legs, the scene of that day appears clearly before my eyes. No matter how hard I try, I can't get rid of it. The scene at that time made Wan very obsessed. It is like a mark, deeply engraved in the depths of my soul. Wan and Haobin's feelings were thus cracked. Because of his father's work, Xiaochuan lost his legs because of criminals. Revenge. That day he was only 4 years old, and he was in a lot of pain, desperately in pain. A happy family was thus shattered. As his mother, how can I not hate? How can I let go? Time shifted to the late night. Wan gently took care of Pichuan. If you need to pee, you must tell the teacher and Mom. Understand? He nodded obediently. Yes, Mom. Remembering something, Pichuan quickly called out, Mom, tell me a story from the past. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Okay. Suddenly, the sounds outside made him startled. At this time, someone kept knocking on the door and calling out, Dr. Zheng, are you home? There is an urgent case. Seeing that someone was in danger, Wan had no choice but to worry and step outside. Seeing her turn around and leave, Pichuan sadly looked after her. He did not call his mother back to the room, he just sadly looked at her. The time before was the happiest time in his life. You have gotten a little taller. Xiaochuan must eat a lot of rice. Eat a lot so you can grow tall like Dad. Pichuan also knew that Hao Bin had helplessly wiped away his tears many times. Just thinking about his pitiful fate made him think so much that he could not sleep. His eyes were dark, but he did not care about these things. He only had one thought in his mind: I will never be as tall as Dad. Time has passed until a few days later. Yilan was leading Beaya towards the apartment. She was secretly thinking, today, Teacher Zhao said that Pichuan did not come to kindergarten, and he will go straight to kindergarten in September. I want to go with Mom to visit Pichuan. He is still, like in his previous life, he has not finished kindergarten. Beaya knocked on the door worriedly. The voice inside rang out, come in please. Seeing the two, Hao Bin was a little surprised. Hello. Yilan smiled when she saw him and said hello. My name is Zhao, Police Officer Pei. My daughter Yao Yao is Xiaochuan's classmate. She wants to bring cake to her friend. Yao Yao, this is Uncle Pei. Although she was a little scared, Beaya still handed the cake forward with a soft voice. Hello, Uncle Pei. Seeing her so obedient made Hao Bin laugh and rub her head. Hello, Yao Yao. Xiaochuan is doing homework in the room. Xiao Zhao, please come in and sit if you do not mind. Seeing the two step in, he smiled and said, let me pour water. Yilan quickly shook her head to refuse. No need, no need. I am just here to bring cake. Police Officer Pei. Just do your work. Yao Yao will visit Xiaochuan and bring cake to her friend and come out soon. Hearing this, he smiled and looked at the little girl. Okay, Yao Yao, come with Uncle. Stepping to the door of the room, Hao Bin politely knocked on the door. Xiaochuan, your classmate is here. Doing his homework, hearing these words made Pichuan surprised and turn his head. Beaya worriedly held the cake and went inside. This is Fang Minjin's birthday cake. Her face was very innocent as she looked at him. Pichuan, here you go. This also made him surprised. Paper airplane, lotus flower, cake, she really is. Pichuan coldly looked at the cake. A girl who is not afraid of failure. He still sat there without moving. She is 1 year younger than me and will probably go to kindergarten for another year. I will go to kindergarten next month, and I probably won't see her for a long time. Seeing that he still did not react, Beaya kept handing the cake to him. Take it, helplessly. Pichuan had to reach out and take the cake. Pichuan finally understands me. Seeing that the cake had been handed over, Beaya turned around to say goodbye. Remember to eat it. I am leaving. Suddenly a hand pulled her back, making her somewhat dazed. Her face turned pale with fear as she remembered the past. It is too similar to the time when Pichuan grabbed Chenhu's collar, and then Beaya, like a small rabbit, kept begging, don't bite me. Hearing her say this, Pichuan continued to turn his head back to his desk. Seeing him so strange also made Beaya become dazed and not understand what was going on. Realizing that there was something in her pocket that Pichuan had stuffed in made her a little surprised. Time passed, and the scene shifted to the small apartment of Beya's house. She looked at the chocolate bar in her hand with some surprise. Yilan smiled when she saw this chocolate bar and said, Xiaochuan gave it to you. It does not look cheap. This made her a little dazed, really. She gradually became uneasy. She gently instructed, take it. From now on, whenever Mom makes food, you can take some to Xiaochuan. Hearing this, she nodded obediently in agreement. Yes. Just thinking about the chocolate bar in her hand made Beaya very happy. I invite Mom to eat? Yilan laughed and shook her head. You eat it? Mom does not eat sweets. She continued to look in another direction. Then I will invite Dad. She gently reached out and rubbed her head. Dad does not like to eat either. You eat it. Hearing her say this, Beaya immediately took a bite of the chocolate. As soon as she tasted the first flavor, her eyes immediately lit up. Her mood became much happier after tasting this flavor. The rest I will save to eat slowly. The scene shifted to the inside of the kindergarten. Voices of conversation rang out. I will go to kindergarten this year. Me too. Great. I want to go too. Chenhu looked at Minjin on one side. Min, are you going? Her face was slightly sad. I am not going. Mom said, I am too young. Chenhu pointed at himself very proudly and added, that means Xiaochuan is also going. I will beat him. Who told him to bite me? This was all heard by Beaya on one side. Her face became very uncomfortable and she sighed. I still have to repeat kindergarten for another year. I will always be 1 year behind Pichuan if everyone in Pichuan's class is like Chen Hu. The more she thought about it, the more worried she became. Then would not he never have friends? At this moment, Teacher Zhao stepped forward and called out, "Children, it is almost time to leave school. Today is Yao Yao's birthday again. Let us sing happy birthday to our friend together." Everyone nodded in agreement. Yes. Everyone surrounded Beaya and kept singing, "Happy cute birthday, happy adorable birthday." These lively birthday wishes and songs made her pay attention. Happy birthday to Yao. Let us hold hands and celebrate together. Applause kept ringing in the spacious room. Beaya was a little embarrassed and did not dare to look straight at everyone. Time gradually shifted towards the evening. Yilan brought dinner to Beaya. Boiled egg and syrup is here. She thoughtfully asked her, "Can I have a wish on my birthday, Mom?" This made her curious. "Tell me." Without thinking much, Beaya continued to suggest, "I want to go to kindergarten," but Yilan refused this request. "No, you must be 5 years old to go to kindergarten. If you are not old enough, do not think about going to school early. The 5-year-old siblings are learning to write, and you stay in kindergarten to play games." Her attitude became very decisive. "I do not play games. I also want to learn to write." She sighed because she was too stubborn. "Yao Yao, listen, if you lose at the starting line, you won't be able to catch up later." At this moment, Yao Yao's father, Bailey Chiai, stepped outside. Her voice rang out, "Wait for me." Beaya ran towards the front, making the two people very confused. Looking at the multiplication table and the knowledge she had written out made the two people very surprised. This is knowledge only learned in the 1st grade. Yilan became very dazed. "How do you know these things?" Beaya continued to say. "This is written on the wall of the kindergarten, so I learned it." She was secretly thinking, "Afraid of being suspected by my mother, so I chose to write the simple ones." Beya's eyes looked very expectantly at the faces of the two people. Li Cai witnessed this scene and became very excited. Our Yao Yao is a genius. This made Beaya somewhat happy. Dad is really not as sensitive as Mom. Yilan still felt very suspicious. She continued to ask, "What is 2 plus 2? She pretended to think and replied, 4. It seemed that these calculations did not make it difficult compared to Beya's determination to go to school. Seeing her so talented also made the two people very happy. Yilan immediately decided, "Then we will register for kindergarten. Mom will go find a teacher for you tomorrow." Time has passed. Outside it is raining heavily. Wan seriously instructed, "Xiao Chuan is going to kindergarten soon. Remember to ask the teacher if you have any questions." Son, Pichuan heard this and nodded in agreement. Yes. Hao Bin drove Pichuan forward. "Let us go." He did not forget to turn his head and look at Wan. "Goodbye, Mom." She quickly waved goodbye behind her. At this moment, he felt somewhat lost. "I do not want to go to kindergarten, but..." His face gradually became thoughtful as he remembered the situation of the family. "I have to go, because if I go to kindergarten, my mom will be willing to talk to Dad." Pichuan understood that he was the bridge between the two people who could talk to each other. "I want a complete family, even if my body is not complete." The scene quickly shifted to the side of Zhaoyang Elementary School. Pichuan sat quietly on the wheelchair. A soft voice rang out, "Hello, little Pichuan. I am Teacher Yu. I am a friend of your father." As introduced, she is the language teacher, Yu Qian. She continued, "I will teach you knowledge and take care of you in the future." Hearing this, Pichuan smiled and nodded. "Yes." Yu Qian turned her head to instruct Hao Bin, "You go to work. Let me take care of him." He nodded. "Dad is going." "Okay." Before leaving, he was still worried and added, "If you need to go to the toilet, raise your hand and tell the teacher. Remember?" He nodded obediently. "Yes, I remember." Yu Qian slowly pushed Pichuan towards the long corridor. There are many new friends in kindergarten. She happily chatted with him as she walked. "Maybe you will also meet friends who were in the same kindergarten class as you before." These words made Pichuan feel somewhat uncomfortable and recall, "People who studied together before, I do not want to see anyone." Inside the classroom, the noisy voices were still ringing out. "It is raining so hard today." "That is right. Luckily my dad drove me to school, and I was brought by my mom." "It is raining so hard, the umbrella does not work. It is all wet." Teacher Yu Chan slowly pushed Pichuan into the classroom. "Luckily my parents brought me early, otherwise I would be late." Or, when seeing Pichuan, all the students immediately became strangely quiet. The whispering discussions kept ringing out. "Why is he sitting in a wheelchair?" Yukon quickly pushed him to sit on one side. Sit here, Xiaochuan. The discussions rang out. He does not have legs, it is so real. Chen, whose face gradually became very uncomfortable. Now we are in the same class. Yu Qian smiled and introduced herself. You met me yesterday when you came to register. I am Teacher Yu. Her voice was very warm. There are still some friends who have not arrived, so we will arrange the seats first. The students in the class happily nodded in agreement. Yes, she continued to ask again. Our student Xiaochuan's legs are injured, so he needs everyone's care. Let me ask which little friend is brave and kind, willing to sit at the same first table with him? The students quickly raised their hands. Yu Qian smiled and asked, which friend does Xiaochuan want to sit with? Pichuan indifferently, slowly wrote and looked towards the back. His gaze also made all the students in the class a little startled and panicked. He is too fierce, his eyes are too scary. Chen Hu also immediately added, let me tell you. When he was in kindergarten, Pichuan still peed in his pants, and he also bites people. This made the friends become scared. Why is he like that? Chen Hu kept mocking, and just now his eyes looked at us very fiercely. This made Yu Qian a little embarrassed. At this moment, a voice rang out, report. Hearing the familiar voice, Pichuan slowly turned his head. Yu Qian smiled and reminded, student Beaya is here too. There are 3 seats left, choose one to sit. Hearing this, she nodded in agreement and looked around the classroom. Yes. As soon as she saw Pichuan, her eyes lit up. I want to sit at the same table with Pichuan. Without thinking much, Beaya hurriedly ran towards him. Pichuan's attitude became very cold. Get out of the way. Because in his mind, he was secretly thinking, who needs your pity? Stay away from me. Beaya was somewhat surprised. After hearing these words, she quickly replied, but I am very short. Her face became very pitiful and she begged. A short person can't see the blackboard if they sit in the back. Seeing Beaya so stubborn made Pichuan not say anything more. He helplessly let Beaya sit right next to him. The simple conversation between the two just now also made her very happy. Pichuan spoke to me just now. After the classroom had stabilized, Yu Qian took the book and stepped forward. Now that you have all sat in your seats, Teacher Yu will now hand out the books to you. You students can help the teacher hand out the books. The students happily nodded in agreement. Yes, the classroom immediately became noisier than ever before. While going to hand out the books, Chen Hu quickly saw a language book that looked wrinkled. It seemed that he was preparing to play tricks. He quickly threw the language book down in front of Pichuan. Chen Hu's face was very proud and he laughed. Give this old, ragged book to you, see what you do. But it seemed that he did not care about what he was causing. Pichuan slowly took the language book and prepared to write his name. Beaya, who was right next to him, smiled and praised. Pichuan, you write your name so beautifully. Chen Hu quickly handed a book to Beaya. Here, this is yours. She happily took the book. Thank you, Chen Hu. He quickly turned his face away. Beaya took the book and continued to write her name. In the meantime, a cute short-haired girl smiled and chatted. My name is Nihui. What is your name? She happily turned her head to introduce her name. My name is Beaya. She looked at Pichuan, who was right next to her. What is your name? Pichuan's attitude was very cold, staying away from her, which made her somewhat embarrassed. Never mind. At this moment, a boy sitting right next to Nihui smiled and introduced himself. My name is Ji Yu Xinghua. I am 5 years old this year. The 3 happily chatted with each other very enthusiastically. Remembering something, Beaya glanced at Pichuan, which made him somewhat uncomfortable. Keep looking, and I will tear your flower bud. His attitude was very cold, seemingly not wanting to care about what was happening. The scene shifted to another place inside the sewing factory. Feng Minjun's mother was surprised and chatted with Yilan. Your Yao Yao is only 4 years old, and you have let her go to kindergarten. How can she keep up with the 5-year-olds? She just smiled gently and replied, my Yao Yao has some natural talent. She can now solve some math problems. She asked to go to kindergarten herself. This made her very uncomfortable. My Minmin is half a month older than Beaya. The thought made Minjun's mother even more unwilling. We have been competing for more than half of our lives, so I can't lose to Zhao Yilan. If that idiot Beaya can go to kindergarten, then Minmin can also go. Time quickly came to leave school. Halbin quickly went to pick up Pichuan in return. Yuchquan constantly instructed the students, children, line up in order. Remembering something, Halbin smiled and suggested, Yao Yao is also going to kindergarten, and is in the same class as you, Xiaochuan. It is on the way. Why do not we take your friend home too? But he coldly refused. Go, Dad, I will take you home, and if your mom does not see you, she will be worried. Hearing this, he had no choice but to drive away. You are right. Let us go then. Hao Bin quickly took Pichuan back to his familiar home. Before going far, he did not forget to glance back. Beaya still had a naive smile on her face and said goodbye Pichuan. He did not bother to respond to this action of hers. The scene shifted to inside the office. Seeing Yu Qian thoughtful made the teacher curious. Why do you look so gloomy, Teacher Yu? She sighed and told the story. Teacher Fang's daughter was assigned to our class. I am thinking about how to arrange the seats. Originally, our class had enough people to sit 2 friends at a table. But now, hearing this teacher immediately suggested, I think it is best to let Pichuan sit alone at a table. But Yu Qian did not think much and immediately refused this. That won't work. It is already a sin for children to be disabled, plus their inner hearts are very sensitive. If Beaya and Fang Minjun sit together, what will Pichuan think in his heart? It seemed that the teacher did not care about these things. I have observed a lot these days. Pichuan's personality is very strange. He hardly wants to communicate with any of the classmates in this class. Beaya is so lovely and speaks so cutely, but Pichuan does not bother to pay attention. The image of Beaya happily chatting with her friends appeared in the teacher's memory. I have seen many times. Whenever Beaya gets close, Pichuan pushes her hand away, like he does not allow anyone to invade his territory. This made Beaya sometimes very embarrassed, so now it seems the teacher wants Yu Qian to arrange the seats. According to what he just analyzed, just let him sit alone. On the morning of the next day, Minjun stepped inside the classroom and smiled to greet. My name is Fang Minjun. I am 4 years old this year. I hope I can integrate with you all. Everyone in the class kept applauding. A student in the class said, I know her. Her dad is also a teacher at our school. People kept discussing together, is she Teacher Fang's daughter? She is so beautiful. Like ordinary snow. Is not this the little jade girl or ordinary snow or what? These compliments made Minjun very proud. Yu Qian worriedly secretly glanced at Pichuan and thought, from the time he entered school until now, I have not seen that friend Pichuan raise his hand to ask the teacher to help him go to the tea toilet. After all, he is a child with a fairly sensitive self-esteem. Changing seats may cause more damage to him. Pichuan was still sitting quietly in his seat. With no other choice, she had to arrange for Minjun to sit on one side. This place is near the podium. Can little Minjun sit here? This made Minjun very uncomfortable and resentfully thought, people without legs like Pichuan even have friends sitting at the same table, so why do I have to sit alone? Did not Pichuan always sit alone before? She uncomfortably tried to look around. I miss my mom. I want to go back to kindergarten. Suddenly, she noticed the innocent face of Beaya looking at her. No. It seemed that Minjun had regained his original will. I can't go back. I promised my mom that I must study hard. This made Minjun very determined. I must get higher scores than Beaya. After a while, the bell rang. All the students kept surrounding Minjun and chatting. Min, I did not expect you to come to kindergarten. I thought it would be a long time before I saw you again. You are so beautiful. Can I be your friend? On this side, Beaya happily took out an apple she had taken from home. She put it in front of Pichuan and looked at him with expectant eyes. Pichuan, want to eat an apple? Seeing that he still did not react, she picked up the apple again. It is so delicious. Seeing that Pichuan still did not want to talk to her, Beaya had no choice but to take the apple back and ask the two people, do you guys want to eat an apple? Mi Hui and Xinhua happily nodded in agreement. Eat, eat, eat. At this moment, Pichuan's palm also clenched. Pichuan happily took the fruit knife and kept cutting the apple peel. He quickly divided the apple for Ni Hui and Xinhua. Finished cutting. Here you go. This made Pichuan on one side feel unhappy. Chenhu also quickly stepped forward and said, give me some too. Without thinking much, Beaya immediately nodded and handed the apple slice to him. Here you go. With Beya's personality, she was liked by many people in the class. Chenhu did not forget to add, Beaya, I will take you to catch sparrows this Tet holiday. Hearing him say this, although she was a little dazed, she still nodded in agreement. Okay. Chenhu happily took the apple slice and left. Pichuan was still sitting quietly in his seat without any reaction. He was still trying not to pay attention to Beaya right next to him, so she is good to everyone, and I am not special. I thought that. Thinking of this made him unhappy, and he kept distancing himself from Beaya. This action of his also made Beaya a little hurt. Does Pichuan hate me? Outside, Yukian had also witnessed all of this. She was somewhat sad and thought, maybe teacher Zheng is right. Pichuan does not like Beaya, even though they sit at the same table. He will still bully her. Time shifted to after school. Yukian stepped forward to chat. Your dad has not come yet. Sit here and wait for a while. He nodded knowingly. Yes. After thinking for a while, she moved closer to him. Xiaochuan, is it that you do not want to sit at the same table with Beaya? Let me ask, do you want to sit alone? Her face showed a sad smile with a bit of bitterness. Or do you want to sit with Beaya, or sit with Fang Minjun? This made Pichuan somewhat hesitant. Aye. He was about to say something, but his throat was as if it had been choked. His attitude became cold again. He immediately declared, sit alone. Hearing him say this, Yuqian had no choice but to leave. When she saw that she had gone out, the tears on Pichuan's face fell down. He helplessly tried to wipe away his tears to hide his weakness. Time shifted to the next morning. Beaya happily ran into the classroom. Luckily, I am not late. She looked at Pichuan. She was already holding a bamboo dragonfly in her hand. In Beya's heart, she felt a little happy. Today I must use this bamboo dragonfly to make Pichuan happy. She quickly brought the bamboo dragonfly in front of Pichuan and chatted, look, his eyes became very cold. Ignoring the attitude on his face, Beaya was radiant to the point of being strange. This can fly. Feeling that he still did not care, she continued to practice. Let me fly it for you. You have to rub it hard like this. Rub, rub. The bamboo dragonfly quickly flew into the sky. Pichuan and Beaya happily looked at the bamboo dragonfly, slowly flying into the air. Look, look. Both were very interested in watching the bamboo dragonfly fly high into the air. As soon as the bamboo dragonfly fell to the ground, Beaya slowly ran over to pick up this bamboo dragonfly. She looked at the item in her hand very cherishingly. As usual, Beaya sat down right next to Pichuan. Seeing that he still did not react, she immediately chatted, here, do not be angry anymore. He silently thought, she does not know anything, does not know that I abandoned her a long time ago, and does not know that I am not angry anymore. Thinking of this, Pichuan reached out and took the bamboo dragonfly in Beya's hand. Seeing that he was no longer angry also made her very happy. Take it, Pichuan. In his heart, he was full of thoughts. I do not have legs. If I let it go, I won't be able to pick it up myself. Pichuan only calmly stroked the bamboo dragonfly in his hand. The thoughts in his mind kept appearing. The only thing I can do is hold it tightly in my hand. The school bell rang. Beaya was always happy and chatted. Let us go to class. Luckily, I am not late. Pichuan, I want to drink water. Hurry up, hurry up. We are going to be late. Pichuan was preparing to get water for Beaya to drink. At this moment, Yukian called out, everyone be quiet, Beaya. Go sit with Fang Minjun. The inside of the classroom immediately fell silent. Yukian repeated what she said. Beaya, take the time to move your things to Fang Minjun's place before class. Her words made Beaya look at Pichuan blankly. Why is the teacher making me leave? He was still silent and did not answer. She did not know that in his heart he felt more guilty than anyone else. With no other choice, Beaya had to pack up her things. She looked at him with reluctant eyes. Looking at the cute teddy bear in her hand, she thoughtfully decided, if I leave, Pichuan will be very lonely. She remembered the cute panda that had been with her for a long time. Just let it stay here, sit with Pichuan. Beaya put the teddy bear in front of Pichuan, which made him somewhat surprised. That is the toy that she likes very much sometimes when she is sitting in class. She keeps touching the teddy bear's ears unconsciously, and sometimes she arranges seats for the teddy bear. This made him feel guilty when looking at Beaya leave. Is her pitiful and reluctant expression because she is reluctant to leave me, or is it reluctant to leave the little panda? Pichuan's attitude was very unhappy. She is reluctant to leave. It is definitely not me. And Beaya was still thinking, Pichuan does not like me and does not like my toys either. And so was the first day that Beaya did not sit with Pichuan. Minjun quickly reminded, there is too much trash in the desk. Can you throw it out for me? Beaya did not mind and happily nodded. No problem. Time passed. She continued to give her a book. I am too lazy to stand up. Can you hand in my homework for me? She still nodded in agreement. Okay. Beaya took the book to submit for Minjun, making Pichuan on the side feel very angry. Even if he was angry, he could not do anything other than express his attitude. This is my choice. She is no longer my classmate or my friend. Time passed. Autumn has come. The weather is gradually changing. Yilan happily held Beiyao's hand and walked around the apartment complex. Seeing a familiar figure made Beiyao happily greet, Anta too, Minmin. Coincidentally, Minjin's mother held the little girl as she walked down and greeted Yilan, looking from afar. I thought Yao Yao was a fireball. Minjin's mother and daughter had a Western style, while Yilan's mother and daughter had a chubby style. This made Yilan a little angry. It is so cold. Who has time to care about being beautiful or not? It is good, as long as it is warm. But she still politely replied, the clothes that your Minmin is wearing must not be cheap, right? This made her very proud and laugh loudly. It is not that much. The cotton jacket is 30 yuan. The scarf was given by her aunt. This made the two people, Yilan, speechless and not know what to say. Minjin on one side felt quite surprised. Dad said the cotton jacket was 26 yuan. She coldly reminded, Mom said 30 is 30. It is almost the end of the semester. You must test well, you hear. Minjin's mother's face was somewhat proud and she added, if you test well, Mom has a reward. Hearing the words, has a reward, made Minjin's eyes light up. Yes, yes. Time quickly came to the semester exam. Yukian constantly reminded, remember to write your name on the exam paper, you hear, work on the exam seriously. Pichuan looked worriedly at Beiyao. This question, does she know how to do it? Beiyao's face was very happy and excited to do the exam. This made Pichuan try to focus again. Whether she can do it or not has nothing to do with me. On one side, Minjun constantly hid and looked at Beiyao. Mom said not to let Beiyao copy my answers. Time passed. It was time to give out scores. Yu Queen told everyone, tomorrow is the winter vacation. I will compile your mistakes when I get back. Put your exam papers away carefully. The discussions in the classroom rang out. I got 75 points on the test. How many did you get? I got 82 points. I only got 70 points. I am going to be scolded when I get home. Yuchuan quickly distributed the test to Peichuan. Xiaochuan, here's your test. You did very well. Try to keep it up. He took his 100-point test. Thank you, teacher. He did not care and directly stuffed it into his bag. Suddenly a voice rang out. Yao Yao, how many points did you get on the test? This question also made Peichuan feel curious. Beiyao smiled and looked at her test and explained, I did not draw straight, so I was deducted 1 point. These words also made Minjin freeze in that moment. Her score was only 70. It is over if Mom knows when I get home. Time quickly shifted to the time to leave school. Yuchan led the students to wait for their parents. At this moment, Peichuan quickly called out, Dad, just take Peichuan home. Dad. Haobin was a little surprised. What if your friend's mom comes to pick her up? He quickly replied, if we meet on the way, we can say hi, or we can text the teacher beforehand. Although he was a little surprised, he still nodded in agreement. Okay, it is snowing too heavily. It is also on the way home. Haobin looked at Beiyao and chatted, Yao Yao, I will take you home. Okay, this made her very happy. Yes, thank you, Uncle Pei. He smiled and asked Yukian for help. I will take her home since it is on the way. If her mom comes, can you text her? She immediately nodded in agreement. Yes, parents. Haobin did not forget to carefully instruct. Yao Yao, remember to hold on tight to Uncle's clothes. Do not move. Beiyao obediently nodded knowingly. Yes, the students around were very envious. I want to try it too. I have never sat on that kind of vehicle before. This made the students envious. I have never even sat on a bicycle before. Minjin on one side felt a little wronged seeing this scene. I also live in the same neighborhood as them. Why does Peichuan's dad only take Beiyao home and not take me home? On the way back, Haobin smiled and asked, how many points did Yao Yao get on the test? He drove very slowly and focused. She gently replied, 99 points. This also made him exclaim, Yao Yao is so good, very smart. She shyly smiled and replied, yes, thank you, Uncle. Peichuan on one side, listening to this conversation, also snickered. On this side, Minjin's mother quickly looked at the report card in her hand. My Minmin is so good, she got 90 points. What about that Beiyao? How many points did she get? Although she did not want to, Minjin had no choice but to lie. 66 points. These words made her very happy and praised continuously. Oh, my dear daughter. Minjin felt somewhat guilty hearing this. On this side, Chen Hu's father was very angry and kept hitting his son's butt. 50 points. First from the bottom, your brain is just too much. On the next floor, the neighbors even heard the conversation of Chen Hu and his father arguing. I will definitely test. Well, next time the voice of this kid is too loud. The scene shifted to outside the apartment complex. The children were still gathering. This side, this side. So many firecrackers. The lovely kids looked up at the building and called out loudly, Zhang Minjun, come down and play, come down and play. Suddenly, Chen-hu remembered Beaya always treating him well. Zhang Minjun, he thought. Last time Beaya shared an apple for me to eat. He continued to call out loudly, Beaya, Beaya. Inside the large room at this time, Wan was focused on making dumplings. Pichuan was helping his mother right next to her. He was very skillful and tried to make the most beautiful dumplings. Looking at Pichuan's attentive appearance made Wan feel sorry. Xiaochuan is always like this. He learns everything very quickly, and he is also the only one who gets 100 points in class. The more she thought about it, the more she felt sorry for his fate. Such an intelligent and excellent boy, but his legs were taken away. His life can be considered to have been ruined by half. The calls rang out. Beaya. This made Pichuan a little startled. Unfortunately, the dumpling he was making suddenly had its skin torn. But he was very calm and focused on continuing to make dumplings. His appearance was very serious and pitiful, making Wan secretly glance at him. Her eyes were somewhat sadly thoughtful. It is the new year, and still no friends have come to the house to play with Xiaochuan. Wan quickly took off her apron. I won't do it anymore. She stepped towards Pichuan sitting there and suggested, Mom will take you out to play, okay? This made Pichuan a little surprised, go out to play, but very quickly he refused. His face was somewhat thoughtful and pondering. He quickly looked outside. It seemed that Pichuan was planning something. In just a short period of time, he immediately changed his mind. Yes. Outside the apartment complex, the children were still playing. Come catch me, come catch me, catch me. Inside the small house, the people were still gathering and playing mahjong very happily. Seeing Wan appear, the neighbor smiled and greeted. Dr. Jiang is here to play. Xiaochuan is here too, right? She quickly waved her hand and replied, That is right. Everyone play. We are just here to watch. A familiar voice rang out. Dad. Beaya was standing there covering her eyes counting, so that her friends could run away far, too. Chen-hu and Minjun and her friends were playing together very happily. After counting, Beaya smiled and said loudly, I am coming to find you. The familiar figure before her made her immediately notice. Her eyes widened as if she could not believe that this was happening. Pichuan sat quietly in his wheelchair, looking towards her. Beaya immediately called out, Pichuan. He still maintained a cold expression. He even turned to look in another direction. This neglect of his made Beaya feel somewhat sad. Pichuan still does not pay attention to me. I will go find my other friends. She kept searching around inside the room where everyone was playing mahjong. It must be in this place, right? She continued to search in different rooms, or is it inside here? After going outside, Beya's eyes were very excited. I found everyone. A long period of continuous searching made her a little tired. It is not here either. At this moment, a snowball fell from the sky straight onto Beya's head, making her scream in fright. Pichuan, sitting on one side, still attentively observed her every action. Not knowing if it was because of sadness or pain, Beaya kept tearing up. She quickly wiped away the tears, but did not want anyone to see. Still not forgetting the task of finding her friends, she quickly stood up. Too dangerous, too dangerous. I almost fell into my eyes. My face is full of snow. It is too wet. Just as Beaya passed by, Pichuan called out, in the warehouse. His voice was somewhat frozen, making her surprised, and turn around. This made Beaya very excited and ran towards the direction he pointed. Just now, I did not hear wrong, did I? But he looked so cold. Looking at Pichuan's joyful expression made Wan a little surprised. What did you encounter? You look very happy. The scene shifted to inside the warehouse, filled with objects. While everyone was still playing hide-and-seek, Beaya immediately appeared. I caught you. This made her friends very surprised. Beaya, you peeked, did not you? How could my plan be caught? She shook her head and explained, I did not peek, but it seemed that her friends still did not believe. I do not believe you. You definitely cheated. The voices of conversation kept ringing out inside the warehouse. I do not believe you. You definitely peeked. I really did not. Chen-hu also stepped forward and pointed at Beaya and questioned, if not, then why are you hesitant when you speak? Beaya, who did you see first? Her face became very dazed and replied, I did not see anyone. She did not forget to use her hands to cover her eyes. When I closed my eyes to count, you all had already run away to hide. because in Beya's mind, she secretly thought, I am a girl with the memory of the 3rd grade, I can't bully the little friends. Her friends kept running outside and discussing together. I knew it, she really peaked. This time, hide over there. This made Pichuan even more self-conscious and blamed himself. They originally did not want to play with me, I should not have told her. I won't interfere with other people's affairs next time. His mood plummeted again. Let us go home. Mom, somewhat surprised. Wan still nodded in agreement. Okay, she wondered in surprise. What happened to the child? He was clearly very happy just now. She quickly pushed Pichuan back. This scene happened to be seen by Beaya. She was still about to call out his name, Pei. But then her throat choked. Her eyes were somewhat sad. Pichuan has to go, but I have not said thank you to him yet. On this side, in the mahjong room, voices of discussion rang out. My Minmin and Yilan's Yao Yao will go to 1st grade together. The children are growing up too fast. That is right. She did not forget to look at Yilan. Yilan, you do not have to be discouraged. If Yao Yao really can't keep up with the pace, then she can repeat kindergarten for another year. She is still young anyway. This made her confused. What are you talking about? Minjun's mother laughed and recounted. I heard that Yao Yao's final exam score only just met the standard. She smiled and turned her head to look at Yilan. Don't chase after the pace. A solid foundation is the most important. At first, I also thought that, if Minmin's score is not high, then she can repeat a year too. Who knew that the child got as many as 90 points, so going to 1st grade will definitely be okay. This made her somewhat surprised, and laugh incomprehensibly. Who told you that my Yao Yao only just met the standard? My Yao Yao studies very well. She only missed 1 point to get 100 points. Minjun's mother was somewhat dismissive. Really knows how to brag. She did not forget to add, Zhao Yilan, you do not have to make up this story to deceive people. Right? Faced with her words made Yilan very confused. Why deceive? Does not teacher Yu have the test papers? In Minjun's mother's heart, she thought worriedly, if I keep talking, I will be exposed. Could it be that that child Beiyao really got 99 points? This made her very humiliated. Then just now, what a loss of face. Inside the room, everyone kept praising Beiyao. That means that little Dao Yao will have a bright future. Friends of the same age like that, there are some who do not even know all the letters. It must be admitted that this child is smart. This made Yilan very happy. No way. Thank you, thank you. The more she thought, the more angry Minjun's mother became. From young to old, this is the first time Jing Yilan has won against me. She gritted her teeth and decided, when I get home I must ask Minjun about what happened to that damned child. After that period of time, the crying of Minjun rang out. She kept wiping away the tears on her face. 90 points is a lot. Chen Hu only got 50. Does not he? Minjun's mother still did not want to let it go. But I want you to win against Beiyao. She kept crying pitifully. Apart from Beiyao, I got the highest score, Mom. Next time I will try to defeat Beiyao. But she still kept blaming her. After the new year, you know how hard you have to work, right? Minjun kept nodding. Yes, I know, Mom. Time passed. Beiyao continued to go to school. Early spring, we started a new semester again. This time, Minjun had studied harder. Fan Minjun was still cold. Sitting next to her was Chen Hu. Chen Hu was still fierce and bad-tempered. Beiyao continued to glance at Pichuan sitting on one side. From that time onwards, he never took the initiative to talk to me again. This made her somewhat confused. It is like the soft voice that day that spoke to me was just an illusion. Time flew by in a blink of an eye. The voices of the students kept ringing out, yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. Inside the classroom, Yukian told all the students, in the last month of kindergarten, the school has issued a policy that from now on, kindergarten will not have to take exams anymore. This also made everyone surprised, really. The students happily stood up and said loudly, that is great. This made Minjun somewhat uncomfortable and asked herself, what, if we do not take them anymore? Then can I only wait to get to 1st grade to surpass Beiyao? Yukian still kept instructing. Try to study hard in elementary school, you guys. The students nodded in agreement. Yes. Beiyao, on this side, thoughtfully looked at Pichuan. Why can't I see Pichuan go out to play today either? He looked at his legs that were still disabled and asked himself, Mom said they will grow back when I grow up, but I am already 6 years old, and my legs still have not grown back. Time has shifted to the evening. Wan and Hao Bin kept arguing loudly. Wan, do not be emotional. Xiao Chuan is still too young. His body can't withstand the pain of practicing with prosthetics. The problem is that no 1st grade teacher can help Xiao Chuan go to the toilet. I said, I will ask the teacher. Hao Bing continued to suggest, I will give gifts to ask them for help. But Wan clearly did not want to hear these words. What about later? And what about when he goes to the 4th or 5th grade? And then to middle and high school? Pichuan on one side was silently listening to the words his parents were arguing. Can you ask them for help his whole life? I will find a hospital to install prosthetic legs for Xiao Chuan. Even if it breaks the bank, I have to make my son stand up again. He only knew to stand outside the door listening to the arguments of his parents. From the time I went to kindergarten until later, I did not ask the teacher to help me go to the toilet anymore. At this moment, Pichuan helplessly looked at his disabled legs. Mom said that waiting until I grow up, then these legs will grow out. Every night before going to bed, I look at them, but they still have not grown out. Inside the room, Pichuan sat there without moving. I do not know what prosthetic legs are, but I want to stand up again. Time passed, and the scene shifted to the school. Beaya slowly recounted. In the morning, the memories of the 4th grade that appeared in my mind were the clearest. Yilan gently held Beya's hand and walked to the school. In the 4th grade, 2 big events happened. First was a matter that was not very important. The first event was that the road from home to school was being repaired, and the children in the neighborhood had to take the small road every day to go to school. She continued to look at her mother, Yilan. The second event was that when I was in the 4th grade, my uncle hit someone with his car and had to pay a large sum of money, and Mom could only use her savings to fill this bottomless pit. Looking at the homeroom teacher, she said, hello, teacher. She was still lost in her thoughts. I do not remember these things in detail. Beiyao's face was thoughtful, but both of those things were very bad. A voice rang out, hello, Beiyao's mom. The homeroom teacher stepped outside and praised. I am Tai Qingyu, the homeroom teacher of the 1st grade. I have seen the kindergarten results of Beaya, and she studies quite well. Yilan was happy hearing this. Thank you, teacher. I will be bothering you in the future. Looking at the unfamiliar face before her made Beaya stand still and dazed. Who is she? I remember my 1st grade teacher's name is Hong Guanjing. In her memory, the woman, when seeing her do wrong, would constantly use a stick to hit her hand. Her temper was very uncomfortable. Whoever did their homework wrong would be hit on the palm of their hand by her. This also made Beaya realize an important thing. That is, right, I skipped a grade in this life, so the direction is completely different from my previous life. It seems that she had some thoughts about changing the future. So changing the teacher is also normal, so does that mean that I can't know what will happen in the future? On this side, Qingyu quickly brought a stack of documents to Pichuan. Pichuan, let us play this game together. She brought a small notebook to him. Look at this, and choose a name. Her face was very kind. That person will become your deskmate. Qingyu secretly thought, there are these 4 friends in the class who are Pichuan's neighbors, and they can take care of the boy a little bit. Qingyu recalled the time before when Yu Jian had asked her. He is very sensitive and has never asked me to help him go to the toilet. If possible, please take care of him more. This also made Qingyu decide. He is in kindergarten, so he does not know many words. Maybe that will be fair. Pichuan was still secretly looking at the names on the list. Feng Minjun has 3 characters. The person with the character Da should be Li Da. He kept thinking carefully about these names. She said she got 99 points. I was taught in kindergarten that if I do not seize the opportunity, she will become someone else's deskmate. And I will have nothing. Life is not good to me, maybe. Pichuan immediately pointed to Beiyao's name. I should be a little selfish. Everyone in the class has their own deskmate. He unconsciously remembered Beiyao's happy face during the teething period, and I took away 3/4 of the chance so that she would not be his deskmate. Even so, Pichuan still blamed himself. I am not a good person. Time has passed. After being brought into the classroom, Beaya waved goodbye. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Dad. The 2 worriedly instructed her. Be obedient and listen to the teacher, you hear. Looking at the scene before her made Beaya quickly pay attention. Seeing Pichuan already waiting there made her happily greet. Pichuan, you came to school so early. Although her heart was very happy, I am sitting at the same table with Pichuan again. So happy. He still did not have any emotion when he saw her greeting him so warmly. A voice rang out. The friends have not all arrived yet. Beaya happily held the pile of colored number sticks in her hand. Let us play with these colored ones. Pichuan also nodded in agreement. She said the rules of the game. Whoever goes first will have the advantage. You go first. Minjin looked at her mother and reminded. Mom, I am going into class. She nodded and instructed. Yes, you must study hard. Looking towards Pichuan made her quickly pay attention, It is that boy from the Pei family. Min Min said he got first place. Minjin slowly stepped inside the class. Yes, I know. She somewhat regrettably looked at Pichuan's disabled legs. Smart is smart, but in the end he is just a cripple. Finding a job and finding a wife in the future will probably be a big problem. I do not know if anyone is willing to marry their daughter to someone like that. The story was also told Pichuan does not know how to give in. He is like a young bamboo that stood firm in the hail last year, facing the wind and rain and being hit, and in the end can only be broken by the wind. Beaya on the side was very excited, looking at the pile of counting sticks in her hand. You won! Pichuan is so good! But Beaya is always immature and soft. That girl used the greatest tolerance of a child to endure Pichuan's coldness. Many times Pichuan had secretly looked at Beaya. In this hot summer, Pichuan never drank water at school. He would always bring water with him, and in the end the water bottle also crossed the Hana. 38th parallel. Afraid that she would be thirsty, he always gently placed it next to Beaya. Friend rests right here at Beiyao's desk. Time passed. Realizing the change in his body, Pichuan called out, Mom, Juan. Juan was a little surprised to see this. Did you lose a tooth? She stared blankly at Pichuan's tooth in his hand. His growth made her even happier. Our Xiao Chuan is about to grow up into a young man. He nodded obediently. Yes. Inside the school rang the sounds of reading. Amen, a grapevine in front. Amen, a grapevine in front. Amen, a fresh green just sprouting. Beaya seriously read the passage excitedly. Amen, a fresh green just sprouting. The snail carrying a heavy shell on its back. Pichuan thoughtfully silently let her continue to say loudly. Climbing up, step by step, there are 2 orioles in the tree. At this moment, a ruler hit the desk continuously. Pichuan. Qingyu was surprised and interrupted to question Pichuan. Why are not you singing with your friends? He was still only silently looking at her without saying a word. These eyes of his also made Qingyu feel somewhat surprised. This child, his eyes are like stagnant water. I do not see any fear of the teacher, she seriously reminded. Pichuan, there is something wrong with your legs, not that you can't sing. Qingyu kept blaming him in front of all the students in the class. You like this are very disrespectful to the teacher, you know, now start. Her voice rang out. I sing a sentence, you sing along a sentence. Beaya worriedly called out. Pichuan. Qingyu was still humming the sentence. Amen, a grapevine in front. He tried to open his mouth wide and gasped as if losing his voice. Amen. Everyone in the class turned their gaze towards him. Grapevine? Immediately afterwards, the whole class burst into laughter with great pleasure. The mocking laughter kept ringing out. Everything gradually became dark. Pichuan silently listened to everyone's ridicule. He is not singing the right tune, he is gasping. Qingyu was very uncomfortable and turned her head to blame the students. Don't laugh. What is so funny about learning to sing? Pichuan, continue to sing along with me. Seeing him so embarrassed made Beaya not know what to do. What should I do? I am also very afraid of the teacher. Even so, Beaya still did not want to give up. No, I have to get him out of this. Thinking of this, she picked up the music book and said loudly, The snail carrying a heavy shell on its back. This song made everyone in the class laugh in a very lively manner. Chen Hu on one side was laughing to the point of not being able to bear it anymore. Beaya was so funny the teacher did not tell him to sing, and he also did not sing the right tune. Pichuan was somewhat surprised to look at Beaya, who was still humming the sentence. Just now, when the teacher taught everyone to sing, she clearly was not out of tune. He also understood her good intentions. She is getting me out of this. In her heart, she had become very confused. It is over. Pichuan is looking at me. I am so embarrassed. But Beaya still did not care. She did not forget to show a smile to reveal her missing tooth. To smile, otherwise I won't be too embarrassed. This smile of hers made Pichuan stop short in a daze. He hurriedly turned his head in another direction and criticized. No front teeth. Ugly. Time passed. At this time it was up to the 3rd grade. Beaya stepped inside the classroom and smiled to greet Pichuan. Good morning. Seeing her so happy made him somewhat confused. Good morning. Realizing something different, Pichuan asked, Where's your hair tie? Beaya sat down in her seat and continued to take out books from her bag. Mom said that tying 2 buns like a kid when you are in 3rd grade, so I took it off. She smiled and touched her hair and asked, How is it? Is this hairstyle pretty? These words of hers also made Pichuan silent in that moment. Although he thought it was very pretty, he still stubbornly criticized ugly. Still, with the familiar personality, made Beaya on one side sigh. That is right. Holding the math book in her hand, her face was somewhat thoughtful. I am not as pretty as Minmin. In a coincidence, Pichuan saw Yilan throwing out the trash. Because he was too curious, he quickly reached out and searched inside the trash can. Finding Beiyao's 2 hair ties made him somewhat confused. Why is not she wearing them? Pichuan's face was sad to the point of being strange. Does everyone have to change when they grow up? Time passed. Beaya at this time was walking alone on the long road to school. Remembering everything that had happened made her somewhat sad and unable to be happy. Last night, her uncle hit someone with his car, and Mom almost used up all of the family's money to cover the expenses. She helplessly kicked the rock under her feet. Everything is still developing as in my memory. Beaya constantly blamed herself for a long time. I can't change anything. At the same time, Pichuan was taken to school by his dad and passed by her. He saw all the girls running towards Beaya. Beaya, wait for us? Beaya. She was surprised and turned her head. Nihui Huating. She quickly integrated with her peers. Suddenly, Pichuan called out, Dad. He quickly suggested, next time, Dad, let me sit in the back. Haobin was confused hearing this. Why do you want to sit in the back? Sitting in the front is safer. Sitting in the front. Dad can see you easier. He only knew to look at his palm and explained, I sit in the back and grab Dad's clothes. My hand strength is very strong. Time passed until the evening. Wanhuan's voice rang out. A friend I know at the hospital said. During the family dinner, she continued to say, Xiaochuan's current situation can have prosthetics. He has a friend who has had it done before. Haobin was surprised hearing this. Can we trust it? Sitting on one side, Pichuan was eating rice while thinking, prosthetic legs, of course. Wanhuan turned her head to look at her son. Then Xiaochuan will be able to stand up. Are you happy? He nodded casually. Yes. Haobin also nodded in agreement. All right then. He smiled and quickly decided. Then I will ask for leave for you tomorrow, and you take Xiaochuan to get checked. Time had passed until 10 days later. Pichuan sat quietly on the bed with prosthetic legs. I was given prosthetics. He thoughtfully looked at the prosthetic leg made from machines. It looks very cold and not warm at all. Because he was too impatient, he slowly stood up, and it has been so long that I almost forgot what it feels like to walk. Feeling more difficult than he thought, made Pichuan somewhat helpless. In a moment of carelessness, he fell to the ground and cried out in pain. Even so, he still did not want to give up, and tried to tremble and stand up. His process of learning to walk was very difficult, making Pichuan's whole body tremble strangely. After only a short period of practice, he was able to tremble and stand firm in the room. At that moment, Pichuan realized that he had fallen because he could not stand firm with these prosthetic legs. In his head, there was only one thought. Don't give up, Pichuan. Make an effort to stand up. He tried to grit his teeth and crawl up. I must stand up. Outside, Wanhuan and Haobin were anxiously looking at Pichuan's practice. Just thinking about her son working so hard made her unable to bear it and shed tears. Time passed. Pichuan practiced hard. Every day I practiced seriously. Outside, it had started to snow coldly. From autumn to winter, I never stopped. After a period of time, Pichuan also knew that the time had come. Until he looked at himself reflected in the mirror. Spring, I was finally able to walk with these prosthetic legs. Being able to stand firm made Pichuan very happy. Pulling down the trouser legs, I am no different from a normal child. The scene shifted to outside the school. The students kept covering umbrellas and walking into the class. Hurry up, my shoes are all wet. The scene had shifted to the 4th grade 1 class. Inside the classroom, Beaya was cleaning the desks and chairs. A familiar figure walked in, making her quickly pay attention. Looking at the scene before her made Beaya stunned and open her eyes wide in disbelief. Even the classmates in the class had become very surprised. Is it him? His legs have grown back. Pichuan walked to school with a cold face, seemingly not caring about what was around. Pichuan. Time seemed to stop flowing. The eyes of the two people accidentally met. Beaya blushed in surprise when she looked at him. Why is he so tall all of a sudden? In her head, she unconsciously remembered the Pichuan of the past. That is right, in my memory, Pichuan also had prosthetics. This made her very confused with that short memory. Only not long after, he refused the prosthetic legs and returned to the wheelchair. Moreover, it is related to me. Time passed very quickly until it was time to leave school. Beaya was packing her books and thinking, according to the current development track, Pichuan will still meet that person during the time the road is not repaired. She worriedly glanced at him. I can't let him go home alone. The female students happily ran over and called out, Beaya, let us go home. She waved her hand to signal everyone. You go home first. My stomach hurts. I want to go to the toilet. Everyone nodded knowingly hearing this. Okay, then I will go first. In her head, she had a plan. Pichuan definitely does not like acquaintances, seeing him going home. Stepping out of the classroom, Beaya was somewhat worried. So I will wait for everyone to leave before he goes. Then I will pretend to go to the toilet first. Seeing Beaya had also left, Pichuan knew that it was time for him to go home. Finally, everyone has left. Time gradually shifted towards the evening. The lonely figure of Pichuan walked out. He did not know that Beaya had secretly followed him behind. She followed a long distance, as if secretly checking if there was anything strange. Looking at Pichuan's every step, Beaya was somewhat worried. When walking, he really does not look very natural. Feeling that something was wrong, he turned his head in surprise, making her startled. Because she was too embarrassed, she hurried forward. He felt somewhat confused behind. What does she mean? Looking at Beya's frightened figure in front, he felt even more speechless, intentionally staying late a little. He thought in another direction, planning to laugh at me or something, so curious. On the way home, the students constantly discussed together. Ding Wenxiang, do you know a male student in the 4th grade in our school who does not have legs? Wenxiang walked and replied, I saw him, sitting in a wheelchair. So what? The student continued to say, 2 days ago I heard that his legs grew back. He somewhat proudly added, now he goes home by himself. Do you think he has prosthetics? This made Wenxiang even more interested. How can prosthetic legs walk like real legs? Prosthetic legs. Interesting. I really want to meet him. The student continued to say, I know, every time after school he always takes that small road. The group walked and discussed together very enthusiastically. Walking slowly, no different from a turtle. Let me take you to meet him. Go, go, go. I am also too curious. Hearing the conversation of the group made Beaya immediately realize that something was wrong. It is him. The scene shifted to the familiar small road to return to Pichuan's apartment complex. At this moment, Wenxiang had tightly grabbed Pichuan's collar and called out, Kid, let me see your prosthetic legs. Faced with this bullying, he was not scared at all. Pichuan's gaze made him very uncomfortable. Suddenly, Pichuan's hand tightly held Wenxiang's hand. He was in so much pain that he frowned and panicked. This kid is so strong. Without thinking much, he immediately pushed Pichuan backwards. Because he was not used to the prosthetic legs, Pichuan slowly fell down. His voice also rang out, Press him down. The group held Pichuan tightly, making him very helpless and struggling. Get out of here, let go of me. His eyes were still cold, making others uncomfortable. Let go of me. Wenxiang angrily grabbed his hair. You bastard! I am going to beat you! The group constantly bullied Pichuan in the small alley. The students around kept discussing together, why are they bullying others? Do not go over there. That guy is Ding Wenxiang, who is in the 6th grade, so gangster-like. Look at how big they are. Wenxiang showed a vicious smile and reached towards Pichuan's legs. You guys press him down. Let me see what this kid's prosthetic leg is like. The continuous strength of them pressing down on him made him unable to respond. You guys, go to hell. His voice gradually became trembling to the point of despair. Go to hell, go to hell. The group of Wenxiang still did not want to give up, and slowly pulled out his prosthetic leg. You guys go to hell, all go to hell. Wenxiang was preparing to act when a stick hit his head hard, making him painful. Who is blind? His eyes gradually became uncomfortable, and he turned his head to look behind. Dare to hit me. Beya's hands holding the big stick gradually trembled, but she was determined not to let anyone bully Pichuan. Looking at the big group in front of her made her somewhat scared. You! But she still held the stick firmly in her hand and said loudly, You let him go! The time shifted to the past. At that time, the voices constantly rang out, Be honest, do not offer a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Pichuan's legs had been pulled out by the group of Wenxiang to examine. This also made the students around constantly discuss, so that leg of his is a prosthetic leg. Why does he have to use a prosthetic leg? It is so strange. The mocking laughter kept ringing out. That prosthetic leg looked so disgusting. Pichuan, lying on one side, only knew to helplessly shed tears. It seemed that he was very desperate with his life. But in this life, there was Beaya standing up to protect him. Although she was very scared, she would not let anyone hurt him. In this life, I must protect him. Wenxiang saw that Beaya had stepped forward and laughed in surprise. A kid wants to stand up for others. He was somewhat scary, making her worried. Wenxiang continued to step in front of her. Just now you were quite strong. Do you want to do it a few more times? Even though she tried hard, Beiyao's legs were still trembling. She kept threatening. If you come any closer, I won't be polite, Wenxiang suddenly interrupted, annoying. He uncomfortably put his hands towards her. Don't think that because you are a female student, I won't dare to hit you. Wenxiang even tightly grabbed Beiyao's hair, making her very scared and wildly hit with the stick. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. He still did not want to give up. Damn it, I am going to kill you today. In despair, Beaya suddenly shouted loudly. Dare to touch me and see, I will tell Teacher Tai. These words of hers also made Pichuan quickly pay attention. He saw Beaya still constantly attacking Wenxiang for him, and tell my uncle too. Her voice rang out. My uncle is a policeman. Hearing this made the group of Wenxiang startled. Police? A policeman? Beaya still kept threatening. Tell my uncle to arrest all of you. Seeing that the situation was not good, a younger brother behind hurriedly reminded, Boss, let us go. It is not good to get caught by the police. The police will tell our parents. With no other choice, the group of Wenxiang could only run away. Run. Seeing that the group had left, Beaya slowly dropped the stick in her hand. Remembering the scene just now made her constantly shed tears. It was so scary. She sat there crying like a pitiful child. At this moment, Pichuan also slowly crawled up. Looking at her weak appearance made him somewhat sympathetic. A girl like that probably only has to fight once in her life. Beaya sat there still crying. Pichuan's hand full of wounds reached towards her. He gently called out, Beaya. At this moment, she paid attention to him. That was also one of the rare times he took the initiative to talk to her. Let us go home. Although she was very scared because of the scene just now, Beaya still unconsciously reached out towards Pichuan. On the way home, Beaya worriedly kept asking, Pichuan, I am a little scared. Will I be criticized? He gently comforted, It won't. Remembering the scene just now made her somewhat scared. Pichuan, I am in pain? He only gently nodded. Beiyao's voice hesitated and asked, Pichuan, can we go home together tomorrow? He listened to this and only thought silently without answering. The two continued to walk on the road back. He had also agreed to this. Okay. Time passed faster and faster. Starting from this year, the scene shifted to the boxing gym. In order to become stronger, Pichuan had constantly gone to learn different kinds of martial arts. Every time during winter and summer vacations, Pichuan would wear boxing gloves and start learning boxing. Everything gradually became better. Time passed extremely quickly. I and Pichuan had gone up to the 6th grade. The banner hung announced, Spring outing of the 6th grade 1 class. A voice rang out, The rice balls my mom made are very delicious. You guys try them. During the picnic, the voices of conversation constantly rang out. Hey, do you guys know what? Ding Wenxiang, a student in the 8th grade, was beaten by a group of gangsters and was hospitalized. Really, he deserved it. On this side, the female students were surrounding Beaya and looking at the rabbit-shaped apple slices she had cut. Remembering something, she unconsciously turned her gaze towards Pichuan. Faced with everyone's happy integration, he was always rejecting it. It is almost elementary school graduation, and Pichuan still does not have friends. He was still holding the book in his hand, focused on reading. In my previous life, I never paid attention to him. I only vaguely remember the year I was in the 8th grade. At that time, Pichuan seemed to have become a completely different person. Pichuan, in the 9th grade, completely turned into a delinquent student from beginning to end. All the children in the neighborhood were warned not to get too close to him. This also made Beaya very confused, because at that time he played with a group of thugs. The friends around him were mostly fierce and evil. He is clearly a very good student now. Why is that? At this moment, Pichuan noticed her. The eyes of the two people accidentally met, making her somewhat embarrassed, and quickly turned her head away. Time seemed to stop flowing. Beaya was still thinking, I want to know the answer. Pichuan constantly looked at her and gave a signal. What are you staring at me for? She angrily retorted. If you did not look at me, how would you know I was looking at you? Pichuan immediately took out the lunchbox in his hand. Want to eat my rice? This made Beaya a little startled. In his eyes, am I a gluttonous pig or something? A shout rang out. Careful! There is a snake! Beaya was startled in that moment. From nowhere came a green pit viper that looked very dangerous. This made all the female students very scared and scream. The place gradually became chaotic. It is too scary, run! At the same time, the teacher hurriedly ran over and shouted a warning. Beaya, Huating, get out of the way! At this moment, Huating was so scared that she shed tears. The snake is crawling towards you. The snake was rushing closer and faster. Both of them were limp and could not do anything. Knowing that she was about to be bitten by the snake made Beaya somewhat helpless. In the last moment, luckily a hand reached out to grab the snake. Pichuan carefully used his hand to hold the snake tightly. In order to protect Beya's safety, he continued to slam the snake down to the ground. Taking the rock right next to him, Pichuan slammed it straight into the head of the snake. This scene made everyone in the class freeze in fear. Seeing the gaze that everyone was giving him made Pichuan suddenly stiffen. His eyes gradually became embarrassed, not knowing what to do. Their eyes are looking at me. Everyone at this time had looked towards Pichuan, seemingly wanting to distance themselves from him. He sat there quietly without reacting. Maybe he was regretting his actions just now. Beaya on one side had also observed the entire scene just now. She worriedly remembered everything. Pichuan, if it was another girl who caught this snake. The homeroom teacher was also stunned and could not believe it. She would be scared immediately. She smiled and praised. Student Pichuan is very brave. He helped everyone escape from danger. The teacher's voice rang out, you should thank him. Beaya also looked towards Pichuan's lonely back. Maybe everyone will admire him like a hero, but he is Pichuan. The space became scarily silent. Dark clouds quickly appeared, blocking the sunlight. At this moment, Huating fearfully stepped forward and softly called out, Pichuan. She glanced at her. While Pichuan was still standing there blaming himself, Beya's voice rang out, thank you, Pichuan. Out of habit, he slowly turned his head. Beaya also gave him a handkerchief. We were all very scared. Thank you for catching it. Wipe your hands. Time seemed to stop flowing. The eyes of the two people met, making everything gradually become more romantic. It seemed that Pichuan had also realized something. He did not care about the thoughts of everyone anymore and only smiled knowingly. Pichuan took the handkerchief that Beaya gave him. This made Huating on one side immediately become silent. After taking all her courage, she shouted loudly, Pichuan, thank you. Before the actions just now, she was very grateful. Thank you for saving us. The words of Beaya and Huating made everyone in the class look at Pichuan with different eyes. Minjin praised in surprise. He is so talented, he even dared to catch a snake. Chenhu proudly pointed at himself, that is nothing, I can catch it too. She heard this and turned her head to look at him. Chenhu, you only know how to brag. Just now I saw you were so scared that you hid in the back. But he was very stubborn. No way, I am very brave. Do you have... Minjin quickly reminded. Stop bragging. Beaya also gradually stepped towards Pichuan. Pichuan? We? Before she could finish speaking, he reminded, don't come here, it is still not dead. She heard this and immediately became scared. He calmly announced, let me throw it away. This made her very touched. Thank you. Huiting and Beaya watched Pichuan's back. Although he was a little lonely, he had done a good deed to help everyone after this matter. Everything gradually became better in school. Pichuan's relationship with his classmates had improved a lot. Before, no one in the class talked to him, but now. Between Pichuan's desks, the students constantly surrounded and chatted. Can I borrow your eraser for a bit? I will return it to you right away, Pichuan. Do you know how to solve this question? After thinking for a short period of time, he quickly calculated, let me solve it for you. Here, know the distance is 45 times 2, which is 90 kilometers, the distance to meet. Pichuan's voice kept ringing out, therefore the car that starts from side B will meet the car that starts from side A after 3 hours. This also made Beaya realize. Pichuan is becoming more and more integrated. Looking at Pichuan's academic ability made everyone admire. He can write 3 different solutions for one math problem, so amazing. Beaya also smiled and stepped forward to praise. Pichuan, how can you be so smart? This praise made him blush in embarrassment and slightly lower his head. Time passed, all the graduating students were gathering at the schoolyard below. We're going to take graduation photos. Do not run around, it feels like we have graduated already. I am so reluctant. Check to see if my hair is messy. The students seriously stood in a line on one side with the teachers. Have you lined up? Get ready to take the picture. Minjin was surrounded by many of her classmates. Chen-hu also stepped forward. "Let me stand with you," the photographer called out. 3, 2, 1, cheese. A commemorative photo between the students was taken, 6th grade 1 class of Zhaoyang Elementary School. Beaya happily held this photo and examined it carefully. "Finally, I have graduated from elementary school." She quickly used her hand to stroke Pichuan's figure. Pichuan is always so quiet. Right at that moment, Yilan quickly appeared and asked, "Yao Yao, your aunt is opening a dance class. Since you do not have anything to do this summer, do you want to go to dance class?" Beaya heard this and somewhat disappointedly replied, "I am too old. It is hard to follow now." She even angrily thought, "You borrowed money from Dad 3 years ago and have not paid back a dime. You are very strict with everything else. I do not want to learn." This also made Yilan feel uncomfortable. "How can you stay at home all summer? You have to exercise, right?" She smiled and asked back, "Then can I learn to dance with the CDs?" After thinking for a short period of time, she finally nodded in agreement. "That sounds good. Then I will go buy 2 CDs tomorrow." The scene shifted to Pichuan's balcony. A gentle breeze blew, sending flower petals forward. He was still sitting next to the window, focusing on studying. Feeling that something was strange made him turn his gaze to one side. In the apartment opposite, Beaya was still constantly learning to dance to the music of the CD. She happily twisted and turned to warm up her body. Looking at this scene made Pichuan somewhat dazed and confused. Realizing something, he quickly blushed and pulled the curtains to cover it. Day after day passed. Throughout the summer vacation, Pichuan hardly opened the curtains once. Time flew by. Middle school classes were assigned according to the results of the final exam of the 6th grade, the 7th and 8th grades were experimental classes, and the rest were regular classes. The story was also told by Beaya. Chen-hu was honored to enter the 6th grade and was ranked last in the class. This made his father very angry. All the friends of the same age in the neighborhood entered the best class. The more he talked, the more angry he became. "Only you do not want to make an effort," Chen-hu cried and ran quickly forward. At the same time, school life also began. Our 7th grade had many familiar faces. Fang Minjun, Hua Ting, and Li Da, who specializes in being last, also entered this class. The most important thing is, Beaya happily stepped inside the classroom. I and Pichuan were still in the same class. Moreover, we can choose our own seats. As soon as she saw Pichuan, she immediately called out, "Pei." Suddenly Hua Ting's voice rang out, "Yao Yao." She happily ran over and suggested, "That is great. We are in the same class again. This semester we can sit together." This made Beaya somewhat dazed. She secretly glanced at him on one side, but Pichuan. At this moment, a girl stepped in front of Pichuan and introduced herself. "Hello, I am Zuo Yingjing. Can I sit next to you?" Beaya immediately became sad. This made Hua Ting surprised. "Yao Yao, what is wrong with you? Do not you want to?" Pichuan also paid attention to her. Beaya. Without thinking much, she and Hua Ting stepped in another direction. "No way! Me and Hua Ting are good friends." But Beya's expression was not as happy as it seemed. "Why do I feel a little sad in my heart? In this new environment, apart from us, no one knows about Pichuan's legs. It is a good thing that someone is actively approaching him. I should feel happy for Pichuan." She still tried to comfort herself. "Yes, I should be happy. From the bottom of my heart, that is good. Pichuan will definitely get better and better." But Pichuan on this side became very uncomfortable. Why did not she come to sit with me? Is it that she thinks she has finally escaped me, a cripple? Until it was time to leave, Beaya hurriedly ran quickly forward. "Pichuan, wait for me." He still ignored her and continued to walk, finally catching up with him. Pichuan's eyes were very cold and reminded, "You go home with Hua Ting." His words made her confused. "Hua Ting's house is not in this direction. What is wrong with you?" His attitude had completely changed. "Don't follow me anymore. Are not you annoyed?" These words hurt Beya's little heart. He still ignored her and stepped forward. She hesitated and stopped. With no other choice, she continued to walk after him. "But my house is also in this direction." Time passed. Pichuan walked in the long corridor somewhat angrily. "One day has passed. She has not come to talk to me and has not come to ask for water." And so he angrily drank all the water in his hand. "I won't bring water for her anymore." Beaya was going to school on one side and sneezed for some reason. She remembered the distance between the two people getting further and further. She could only follow behind Pichuan. But my house is also in this direction. Time passed day by day. Beaya only knew to look at Pichuan's back. She had become very sad. After today, Pichuan has not talked to me anymore. Even so, Beaya could not give up. I definitely won't give up. As soon as she saw Pichuan, she immediately called out, Pichuan. He still ignored her and continued to walk. She kept running after him. You are walking so fast. Wait for me. I want to go with you. Seeing that Pichuan did not have any reaction made Beaya somewhat worried. Pichuan, are you still angry? She kept chatting when she did not see him respond. Don't be unhappy anymore. Let me sing for you. Without letting him react, Beaya was humming the sentence, pride in your eyes, because I know the rest of my life. Pichuan walked towards his familiar home, Beaya comfortably saying right next to him. Her voice constantly rang out in his ears. In your eyes I have found the confidence that I lost. The two were still walking side by side home as usual. At that time, I understood that love can make people live so bravely. Remembering something, Beaya called out, that is right, Pichuan. Her face became very excited. Do you think the language teacher is beautiful? He coldly replied, ugly. His unapproachable nature also made her thoughtful. In my memory, in the 8th grade, when I lost weight, my temperament was quite similar to the language teacher. So maybe Pichuan also thought that I would be ugly like that in the future. Seeing herself thinking too much made Beaya laugh. Forget it. Why think so far? The present is the most important. She immediately stepped forward and called out, Pichuan. Her next sentence made him freeze in that moment. Let us make up, okay? You could clearly see that Beya's expression was very sincere, and she was waiting for an answer from him. Remembering a story, Beaya continued, my grandmother's house just got a new puppy. It barks every time it sees me. Every time I go home these days, I am scared. Pichuan seemed to have understood something. So you just want me to help you chase away the dog, right? She quickly shook her head and waved her hands to explain. No, you misunderstood. Beya's eyes lit up, and she kept declaring, I mean, it is so scary. If it rushes over, I will protect you. A few simple words of hers made Pichuan's heart beat rapidly. Protect me. He slightly blushed and turned away, reminding himself, I clearly did not plan to forgive her so easily. Because he did not Beaya to see his face, he hurriedly stepped forward, making her surprised. Pichuan. Pichuan was still trying to calm himself down. Stop dawdling, let us go home. Having played with him for too long made Beaya understand, so we have made up, right? This made him blush, and not want to admit. Shut up. Beaya happily followed behind him. Pichuan is still the same, cold on the outside but warm on the inside. While walking right next to him, she said, that is right, Pichuan. Did you know that Fang Minjun bought an apartment in the city center? They are moving tonight. After saying this, Beaya grabbed Pichuan's hand. This intimate contact made his heart beat wildly once again. But she still did not pay attention and kept pulling him forward. Let us go quickly. We can still make it to see her off. He heard this and was confused. I am not close to her. On this side, all the friends were still surrounding. Minjun? Minmin, this is a gift I gave you. Remember to come back and visit us. Do not forget us. Beaya also stepped forward and called out, Minmin. The familiar call made her surprised and turn her head. Minmin. Beaya held the rabbit teddy bear and happily ran over. Luckily I made it. In her hand, she held a very beautiful wallet. Here's this small wallet for you. Taking the wallet in her hand, Minjun smiled, touched. Thank you. Pichuan watched everything on one side. I do not like her, but I can't hate her either, because she is always like a gentle little moon without any sharp edges. Minjun did not forget to praise. It is so cute. I like it very much. She laughed and replied, luckily, I made it in time. Only Pichuan next to her understood. So for this whole month she had been saving money on snacks, to save money to buy a gift for Fang Minjun. He was lost in his own thoughts again. She treats everyone well the same, and I am not an exception either. At this moment, a friend next to her looked at Chen Hu and asked, Chen Hu, you have not been happy these days. Is it because Fang Minjun moved? Do you like her? He heard this and blushed and hurriedly said loudly, What? What nonsense? Who likes her? But his friend on the side kept encouraging, if you like her, just say it, or take her home after school. He shyly told everything, I also want to, but my cousin said that distance creates beauty. Girls do not like guys who are too clingy. Getting too close will make people see you as a brother. These words also made Pichuan on one side become shocked and unbelievable. As soon as Beaya turned her head, his figure had disappeared. That is strange. Did not we make up? Why did not Pichuan wait for me anymore? Time quickly shifted to the next morning at Beya's apartment. Inside the room, she kept writing down what she remembered in her previous life. It clearly recorded different information. In my memory, Pichuan's parents divorced when he was in middle school. It seems that Pichuan's personality also completely changed because of this matter. But currently his parents have not divorced yet. At the same time, there was a change with Minjin. Minmin's appearance had also started to change. In my previous life, there were many rumors about her. The Jade Girl of that day has now become a mistress. A tycoon has divorced his wife because of her. The image of the Snow Queen fell from the peak of fame. The Hong Kong actress Snow Queen fell from the peak of fame because she interfered in other people's families. Beaya sat there thoughtfully remembering everything, and I finally have memories of the first year of high school. She looked at herself in the mirror and asked herself, will I really become a school beauty that will surprise everyone in high school? On this side, Pichuan was still constantly looking at the machine in his hand. Right at that moment, Hao Bin led Beaya in. Xiao Chuan, Yao Yao is here. He happily turned around and left. Xiao Chuan, Dad has something to go out, you guys chat. Beaya also slowly stepped inside. Realizing her beauty made Pichuan somewhat moved. The machine in his hand hurriedly made strange beeping sounds. To avoid being embarrassed, he quickly reached out to turn off this machine. Seeing Beaya still standing there quietly, Pichuan quickly reminded, what are you standing there for? Come here. Looking at the notebook in her hand made him a little surprised. Can't do your homework. She obediently stepped towards him. Not really. I wanted to ask if. Her eyes had become very expectant. Can you contact Fong Minjin? Her actions made Pichuan uncomfortable, interfering in other people's affairs again. Beaya seriously explained. Say what you will, we all grew up together. Are not you worried about her? He secretly thought, I am not as good as you think. Fang Minjin is not my relative. Why should I care about her life or death? She looked towards him with sparkling eyes. Pichuan, this made him somewhat embarrassed. These words, I can't tell you. Because he saw that she was so stubborn, Pichuan had no choice but to call Minjin. Inside the room rang the sound of the phone. A familiar voice rang out. Hello. Beaya immediately became happy. It is connected. Pichuan quickly greeted. Hello, Auntie Lee. This is Pichuan. Can you give me the phone number of student Fong Minjin's house? Yes. Reason. He had to make up a reason. Last time her family moved, she left some things at my house. I need to tell her to get them back. After getting permission, he nodded in preparation to hang up. Yes, thank you, Auntie. I have it. Pichuan continued to hand the phone towards Beaya. Handle the rest yourself. She took the phone in her hand. Thank you, Pichuan. As soon as the machine was connected, the voice of Minjin's mother rang out. Who is it? She quickly asked. Auntie Tu, this is Beaya. Can I talk to Minmin? Although she was very surprised, she still nodded in agreement. Wait a bit, let me go call her. She was very expectant. Yes, thank you, Auntie. Beaya was like a little rabbit obediently waiting. A period of time passed, making her gradually feel uneasy. Why is it taking so long? At the same time, inside a dark room, a figure slowly stepped forward. Minjin quickly picked up the phone and listened. As soon as she heard that she had answered the phone, Beaya constantly greeted, Min, this is Beaya. Are you okay? Why does your voice sound a little hoarse? Beaya constantly said, through the other end of the phone. Min, this year the plum blossoms in our little neighborhood have bloomed. They smell so good. The sausage my mom made is very delicious. I will bring some for you when school starts. That is right. I heard that in City C, a very big amusement park has been built. I am so old, but I still have not gone to an amusement park. Minjin on this side gradually felt uncomfortable at her words. Can you go with me? Remembering the main thing she wanted to mention, Beaya got straight to the point. Also, I wanted to say, you are Fang Minjin, not the Star Zoo Queen. Hearing these words made her eyes widen in shock. You are just you. Minjin's eyes slightly turned red. I am myself, she nodded to confirm. Then you have always been Fang Minjin. The voices of different people constantly appeared in her mind. I heard she looks like Snow Queen. Seeing her today, she really does look a little like her. Is not this the little Jade Girl? She is like Snow Queen. Snow Queen is a cold beauty, so as a little Jade Girl, you can't cry. How is she like my Minmin? She is too skinny. Even those who say she looks like Snow Queen. Every expression, frown or smile must be copied from Snow Queen. You are just you. The knife in Wanwan's hand also slowly fell hard to the ground. Tears constantly flowed down her face. This is the first time someone has told me that I am myself. That is right. I am only 12 years old. Shein cried like a pitiful child. I have never been to an amusement park, and I have never seen how the plum blossoms at the gate of the neighborhood bloom. It turned out that Minjun was just a pitiful child. I can't die, Beaya, thank you. After finishing the conversation with her, the room immediately became silent. Beaya carefully put the phone back in its original position. Just thinking about what was happening to Minjun made her somewhat worried. I hope Minmin can get out of the shadow of Suqueen soon. Realizing that she had been here for a little too long made her quickly react. I am sorry. I used your phone for so long. Let me pay you for the phone bill. Without thinking much, Beaya immediately took out 50 yuan of pocket money. This made him very surprised. This is all your money. You are so generous. Remembering something, his face somewhat angrily looked up at Beaya. Are you this good to everyone? Seeing his attitude also made her somewhat confused. Pichuan looks unhappy. She hurriedly shook her head to explain, I just think, if I were Fang Minjun, I would definitely collapse. Because she knew that, if this continues, the consequences could be very serious. But this explanation did not please Pichuan. He sat there thoughtfully pondering. She is comforting Fang Minjun the same way she used to comfort me before. Maybe in the future she will also comfort Chenhu, Lida. Just thinking about these things made him very angry. Or anyone else. Pichuan immediately brushed Beyao's hand away. Who wants your money? This action of his hurt her heart once again, but he was still sitting there thinking, from beginning to end, I and the group of Fang Minjun, Chenhu, Lidao, are no different in her heart. Beaya slowly stepped outside, ignoring him sitting inside the room. They are just pitiful children who need help. The door of the room immediately slammed shut. Everything became silent. Outside, Beaya sadly looked at the money in her hand. Pichuan is angry again. I clearly gave him something that I thought was very good. She was somewhat helpless and could not understand Pichuan's current mood. But to me, you are special. Not like anyone else. You do not know anything. Beyao's face was somewhat sadly lowered. I am clearly only 12 years old, and I am also at an age where I need to be coaxed. This time she did not choose to make up, but stepped forward. I am leaving. Goodbye, Pichuan. The scene shifted to another peaceful place. A short period of time had passed. At a convenience store, the children constantly discussed, I want to eat this. I only have 5 cents. Pichuan carefully looked at the item in his hand. This also made Huating surprised and praise. You are so good. You gave a birthday gift to Pichuan, and you even deliberately bought such a beautiful box to put it in. Beaya smiled and explained, after all, a birthday is only once a year. Just thinking about the actions Pichuan had done for her made Huating a little surprised. Why are you so good to him? He does not treat you well at all. Beaya heard her say this and laughed and thought, Pichuan's grumpiness is already so petty. If I am also petty, then what would happen? She smiled and explained, he will be good when he grows up. Huating's attitude was very uncomfortable. You say it like you know for sure. Seeing a familiar figure of Pichuan made her realize it is Pichuan. Beaya held the gift and ran towards him. It is just the right time for me to give him the birthday present, she immediately called out. Pay. At this moment, another girl had stepped in front of Pichuan and chatted, Are you Pichuan? My name is Mengxian. Before he could respond, she had constantly spoken, I am a student in the 8th grade, 1 class. I heard that a small park is being built in your neighborhood. Can you take me to see it? His attitude was very cold. No. Seeing this, she had no choice but to give up. It is okay. It is the same, even if I go by myself. Seeing Mengxian constantly following him made her somewhat uncomfortable. Huating on one side looked at this scene and exclaimed in surprise. It is Zhang Mengxian. She used to compete for the title of school beauty with Fang Minjun. Now she is teasing Pichuan. What exactly does she want to do? The more she talked, the more uncomfortable she felt. Speaking of Fang Minjun, I did not expect her to lose so much weight after just 1 winter vacation. It is so pitiful. Changshu did wrong. But what did he do wrong? It was time to go home. Huating waved goodbye. I have to turn here. Yao Yao, see you tomorrow. Beiyao also waved goodbye. See you tomorrow. On the way home, Beiyao thoughtfully looked at the gift box before her. Are the things in my diary all true? This cold Pichuan? Will he really protect someone like it says in the diary? The more she thought, the more lonely she felt. Pichuan has a new friend again, and it is a very beautiful girl. Time had shifted to the evening. It was still that peaceful apartment complex. Mengxian walked right next to him and kept chatting. Pichuan, your teacher Ms. Zhang. Pichuan still did not care much and only paid attention to the rock on the road. Usually she would sit on this rock waiting for me. Mingqian was still constantly chatting. Does she speak with a local accent? Does she emphasize at the end of her sentences? He coldly nodded once, although his mind was very thoughtful. Did she go home first today? Looking at the conversation between herself and Pichuan made Mingqian feel very proud. As expected, no matter how cold a guy is, he can't reject a girl who is both beautiful and proactive. The familiar neighborhood that Beaya often mentioned had come into view. The corner of Pichuan's mouth suddenly showed a strange smile, as if he was planning something. He deliberately led Mengxian to pass the house with the fierce dog. As soon as they passed the gate, he deliberately used his finger to open the door lock. Soft noises rang out. Hearing the strange noise made the fierce dog quickly stand up and bark continuously. This made Mengxian very scared and kept screaming, "There is a dog!" She even pushed Pichuan forward. "Pichuan, you quickly chase it away." Looking at the familiar figure right in front made him somewhat dazed. Beaya. She was still tightly hugging the gift, looking at him with strange eyes. But in his heart at this moment, there was only one question. Did she see me unlock the door? At this moment, the fierce dog suddenly rushed towards Pichuan and barked repeatedly. Realizing that the situation was not good, Beaya hurriedly shouted a warning. "Pichuan." She tried to reach her hand towards him, careful, but he was still standing there. She will definitely think I'm very bad. In the last moment, luckily Beaya had stepped forward to chase the dog away for him. "Get out of here, you can't bite people." It was still barking continuously, making her very angry and repeat, "Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here." Seeing it so stubborn made Beaya gradually lose her temper. "If you do not leave, I will beat you to death." She raised the gift box towards the dog as if she would beat it to death if it dared to touch a hair on Pichuan's head. This also made Pichuan in the back. Remember Beya's trembling figure when she protected him as a child? Seeing her so fierce made the dog run into the house and bark continuously. Beaya stepped forward to close the door. She did not forget to lock the door and comfort, "It is okay now." Beya's hands gradually trembled as she reached towards Pichuan. "Pichuan, did it bite you?" He still did not react, making her even more worried. "Does it hurt anywhere?" He quickly realized the abnormality. Her hands are trembling. Remembering all that Beaya had done for him made Pichuan somewhat moved. She was clearly also very scared, but she still rushed forward without hesitation. He shook his head to explain. "Number." Because she was still suspicious, she continued to carefully examine his hands. "Then that is good." Realizing that something was wrong, Beaya quickly hid the gift box behind her, not letting him see. Suddenly, she noticed Mengxian sitting on the ground, trembling with anger on one side. Seeing her so strange made Beaya immediately become silent. Time gradually shifted towards the late evening. Pichuan and Beaya walked back to the familiar apartment. Beaya did not say a word, making him somewhat worried and thought. She usually talks non-stop, but today she has been silent the whole way. He continued to look at her to probe. As expected, she saw it right, or try to ask and see. After thinking this, Pichuan asked, "What did you use to hit the dog just now?" Beaya took the gift box and brought it forward. "I almost forgot." She looked towards him with extreme radiance. "Pichuan, happy birthday." She did not forget to hand the gift box towards Pichuan. "Congratulations on getting 1 year older." He heard this and calmly nodded. "Thank you." In Pichuan's heart, he secretly thought, her expression is normal. She probably did not see me release the dog. Realizing that the gift box had been damaged, made Beaya somewhat sad. "I am sorry. The box is dented." Pichuan shook his head and took it. "I do not mind." Remembering the things before, she shyly recounted. "Pichuan, that new friend of yours is not good. I saw that she wanted to push you out." She looked towards Pichuan with pleading eyes. "Can you not play with her anymore?" He seemed to understand something, so she was silent the whole way because of Cheng Mingxian. Without thinking much, he nodded in agreement. "Okay." Beya's face lit up. "You promised, you hear." On the way back, he silently looked at her still happy face. He rejects those people with such evil intentions. If one day she knows that I and Cheng Mengxian are no different, even more evil. Just thinking about these things made him very thoughtful. What will she do? He even asked himself, will she still treat me like this? Time passed. Pichuan and Beaya were still walking home side by side. After that matter, Mrs. Zhu's dog had been chained up, so I and Pichuan did not care about Cheng Mingxian anymore. Remembering something, Pichuan asked, "It has been a long time since I saw your mom, huh?" Beaya turned her head to explain, "My mom went back to her hometown to visit relatives." Time passed, the story was also told by her. But unexpectedly, in just a few short days, everything changed in a direction that was very unfavorable for Pichuan. As soon as they went to school, Pichuan and Beaya heard the discussion. He is very cold. But it turns out he secretly pleases Chang Mengxian and even took her to visit the new park. He does not even look at himself to see if he has any conditions, wanting to eat swan meat, so disgusting. These words fell into Beiyao's ears. That is right. How can Chang Mengxian look at a cripple who does not even have legs? This made her very angry. That is too much. How can they speak badly about other people behind their backs? She was about to speak. Suddenly a voice rang out. "You guys are always gossiping about others." The next words made everyone freeze in surprise. "I think you guys are the most contemptible." It turned out that these words were said by Minjin. It was Feng Minjin. Feeling that it was not enough, she kept pointing out, "Pichuan, so what? He is both kind and studies well. He won't be like you guys, speaking badly about others behind their backs." Like a group of cheap gossips. At this time the boy could not bear it anymore. Damn it. He angrily questioned loudly, "Feng Minjun, are you jealous of Chang Mengxian so you are protecting Pichuan?" This question made Minjun very dismissive and replied, "There are countless people in this world who are more beautiful than Chang Mengxian. Why would I be jealous of her?" This answer made the two of them laugh. The girls who are more beautiful than Chang Mengxian will never look at Pichuan in this life. Suddenly Beiyao's voice rang out, "You guys." She quickly pushed these two people away and stepped forward. Good dogs do not block the way. Speaking badly about others behind their backs, be careful. Seeing her looking so uncomfortable made the two quickly retreat. "You foul mouth." At this moment Pichuan also walked past, making the two people startled. "Pichuan, why is he here too?" Seeing that the situation was not good, the two quickly turned their heads in another direction. Let us go. It is almost time for class." Remembering something, Beaya happily called out, "Min, Pichuan." Her voice rang out, "Let us go." But Pichuan's mood had been ruined by what happened just now. He also clearly understood his identity. There will not be a girl in this world who is so generous that she will completely accept my imperfections. His eyes gradually became sad and understood, let alone a beautiful girl. Pichuan continued to look at Beiyao's innocent smile when chatting with everyone. What about her in the future? What kind of person will she become? He gradually became more thoughtful and withdrawn. Love and being loved, to me, is a luxury and unattainable. At this moment, Beaya was walking in the long corridor and angrily thought, "Starting from Chang Mengxian, after school I have to go find her. I can't let Pichuan have this disaster for no reason." On this side, Mingxin was still happily chatting with the female students. "Boys, they are all the same." Her voice was somewhat dismissive. I walked with him for a while, and he took the initiative to talk to me. This made the female students on the side surprised. "Maybe you are the most beautiful girl he has ever met." The discussions rang out. That is right. He must be very excited." Suddenly a voice rang out, "Senior Chang." Beaya hurriedly ran over and asked, "Can I talk to you for a bit?" Seeing her appear made her somewhat surprised. Everyone around was also confused. "Do you two know each other?" She quickly waved her hand. "You guys go first." Hearing Mengxian say this, the two female students hurriedly stepped forward. "We are leaving." Beaya looked at her. "Do you remember me? I am the one who chased away the dog that day," she nodded to confirm. "I remember." She did not beat around the bush, and quickly got straight to the main point. "Senior, now everyone is constantly saying very harsh things about Pichuan. Can you explain clearly what happened that day to them?" Mengxian heard this and frowned uncomfortably and replied, "There is nothing to explain. I did not make up those words. Beaya could not bear it anymore, but it was you who went home with Pichuan." She did not hesitate to expose the truth right in front of her. If you did not mess with him, then this would not have happened. This made Mengxian very uncomfortable and say loudly, "He did not even take the initiative to talk to me. What is he to you that you have to stand up for him?" Hearing these uncomfortable words, Beaya resolutely replied, "He is the person I have protected for nearly 10 years. Mengxian somewhat froze. She continued to say, "He is the person I have protected for 10 years. Her voice kept ringing out, "Not a toy or a useless person in your eyes." This made Mengxian somewhat angry. With no other choice, she had to turn around and leave, so unreasonable. Seeing Mengxian so stubborn made Beaya very helpless, not knowing what to do. She remembered Pichuan's thin and tall figure. "I only hope that he can be safe for his whole life, like before. even if his personality is cold and unapproachable. He must grow up happily. The two had gone to school together for a long time. After that day, Chung Mingshan did not look for Pichuan anymore. Everything gradually became better, although sometimes she still heard some bad words about Pichuan. If Chung Mingshan does not explain, then I will explain. Beaya constantly told everyone when discussing Pichuan, "It is not like that, stop spreading the rumors." Time passed, she constantly reminded, "I am telling you." But it seemed that Pichuan did not care much about these things, and left into the classroom, Pichuan said that these pale and useless explanations have no effect. He even called me an idiot. Even so, Beyao's eyes were still very determined to protect Pichuan's reputation, but I do not want to give up. I want him to know that I will always stand by his side. Until school was dismissed, the two walked back side by side. Time passed, bit by bit. Finally, Meng Xian had found a man worthy of her. In the year we were in the 8th grade, Chong Meng Xian, who was in the 9th grade, had a boyfriend at that time. Everyone completely let go of Pichuan's matter. Remembering something, Beaya walked and asked, "Pichuan, do you feel that Chang Mingxian's boyfriend looks very familiar?" His attitude was still as cold as before. "I do not see it." This made her somewhat thoughtful. Has he never met him, or does not have an impression of him? Seeing her still dazed, Pichuan flicked her forehead. "Don't worry about other people's business. Focus on reviewing for the high school entrance exam." Remembering something, he asked again, "The high school entrance exam, you. Which high school do you want to take the entrance exam for?" Beaya innocently explained, "I want to take the entrance exam for high school number 6. It is close to home." He heard this and pondered. High school number 6. At this moment, Beaya approached Pichuan. "That is right, let me tell you a secret." He heard this and was very curious. Her face turned red and she winked at him. "My mom is about to give birth to a younger brother for me. Surprised?" This also made Pichuan feel surprised. That is really surprising. He also understood something, so Auntie Zhao did not go home to visit relatives, but is pregnant with a baby. Beaya walked and happily recounted, "According to the due date, my younger brother will be born this month," but he felt very confused. "How do you know it is a younger brother?" His next sentence made her freeze in that moment. "What if it is a younger sister?" Beaya hurriedly turned her head and replied with an innocent face, "I dreamed about it." She panicked and thought, "Luckily I found a way to cover it up. I almost slipped up." Her face slightly blushed as she said, "But it is okay. If it is a younger sister, then I will like the baby the same." Suddenly, Pichuan became strange. "You want the baby to be born?" Beaya smiled and nodded for sure, of course. His face was somewhat confused, looking at her. "Aren't you afraid that the baby will take all the love from your parents?" She still did not pay attention to this question and replied innocently, "I am not afraid. He and I are of the same blood. My sister and I are one family." Remembering something, Beaya suddenly widened her eyes. Seeing her stop made Pichuan feel very curious. "Why did you stop?" Unable to hide her heart, she turned her head to look at him. "Pichuan, do you want to have a younger brother or a younger sister?" But he coldly turned away. "I do not want." Beya's eyes for him were also somewhat sad, remembering, "In my memory, when we were in high school, Pichuan's parents had long divorced." Even things became much worse. Pichuan lived with Uncle Pei, but not long after, Uncle Pei found him a stepmother. She even brought a daughter who was the same age as Pichuan. Hao Bin announced, "Pichuan, this is your new mother." Just thinking about the grievances that Pichuan had to endure made Beaya feel sorry. That stepmother seemed to not like Pichuan. Then how uncomfortable would Pichuan be in the future? Time had shifted to the evening. Pichuan opened the paper in his hand and thought, Beaya must still think that her persuasion had an effect, so Cheng Mengxian did not bother me anymore. On the paper it clearly recorded the words, Ding Wengqiang. In the 6th grade, there was someone who insisted on seeing my prosthetic legs and pulled up my pants. Grew up not studying, living a vagrant life in society, nothing outstanding in other aspects, but if we talk about wealth, then he is definitely top-notch. Contact information. At that time, Pichuan had gone to meet Wengxiang, 8th grade 1 class. Cheng Mengxian, looking at the photo in his hand, made him somewhat interested. This girl is hot. Pichuan thoughtfully realized that all the actions he did were evil. It is best that she always thinks that way she will never know that I used lowly methods. He slowly tore this piece of paper in his hand. Everything must thank Cheng Mengxian's impure thoughts. As if destroying evidence, he threw all the scraps of paper into the toilet. She made me realize that I am not worthy of being loved in this life. I am not worthy. Time passed. It was now the evening at the familiar apartment complex. Walking home and seeing Li Chai made Beaya a little surprised. Dad, Pichuan also greeted. Hello, uncle. He saw the two and called out, Xiaochuan, Yao Yao. Seeing him looking strange made Beaya curious. Where are you going, Dad? Li Kai smiled and explained, Dad is going to visit your mom and sibling. Hearing this made her eyes light up. Can I go with you, Dad? I finished my homework. He heard this and nodded in agreement. Let us go. She happily followed and did not forget to wave goodbye. See you tomorrow, Pichuan. He only calmly watched Beya's and Li Chai's backs. Leave, see you tomorrow. His eyes had some envy for the two people. The relationship between Uncle Bei and Auntie Zhao is always so good. He slightly lowered his face and remembered the things in his family. Recently, my parents have been in a cold war all the time. Time gradually shifted towards the evening. Pichuan had also become more thoughtful. I really do not know how long this nominal relationship can last. Hao Bin's hand gently placed on the window. He held a cigarette in his hand and smoked. Wan also slowly announced, Let us get a divorce. I have fallen in love with another man. She did not forget to add, He is a doctor at our hospital. These words made Hao Bin freeze. In that moment, he suddenly turned his head and shouted loudly, Jiang Hao Bin! The sentence just now made him unable to bear it. Are you not ashamed to say these words? If I did not discover the text messages in your phone, would you have let me wear a green hat for the rest of my life? The voices of blame constantly rang out inside the room. Doing something like this? Are you worthy of being a wife, worthy of being a mother? Wan silently listened. At this moment, tears slowly fell down her face. I know I am sorry to you, sorry to Xiaochuan, but who should all of this be blamed on? These words also made Hao Bin freeze in that moment. Just remembering what had happened made her very desperate. Ever since Xiaochuan lost his legs, every time I sleep next to you I have nightmares all night. At that time, she had to hold Pichuan's legs tightly in her hands. In my dream, blood flowed everywhere. I hugged the severed legs and cried until I went blind. Her voice kept ringing out in the room. No matter how much I screamed, no one could save me. You are a good policeman. The two of them did not know that these words had been heard by Pichuan. He thoughtfully looked at the glass of water in his hand. But you are not a good father. These words of hers were like knives stabbing into his heart. Do you know how desperate I am just seeing Xiaochuan? Wan hugged her face and desperately cried in the room. It is I who remember that the reason for his child was his work. For the mission, I can abandon my wife and child. You need to see the disabled parts of Xiaochuan. Finally, after so many years, she had chosen to say the truth. I am even afraid to look at him, but he is my son. Knowing that he also had a part in this matter, Hao Bin only silently listened. All these years, Dr. Song has always been the one who helped me with psychological treatment. You can say I am irresponsible. You can scold me for being cheap. Her voice gradually became weak. But I really do not want to live in these nightmares anymore. He slowly sat down next to her. Inside the room at this moment, Pichuan was also looking at the glass of water placed on the table. His eyes clearly showed a despairing sadness. So the one Mom is afraid of. A strong wind blew past, and the cactus was also pushed to the ground. I always thought things would get better. The flower pot had also broken into pieces, and he had also learned the truth. So the one who can't be kept will never be able to be kept. Outside, thunder kept rumbling loudly. Pichuan was shrinking in the corner of the room. Just thinking about what Wan had said made him unable to sleep. I used to think, even if I lost my legs, as long as I studied hard, listened, was understanding. Outside, the rumble kept ringing. There was no mood to care about the temperature. I would rely on my hands to be a valuable person who could contribute to society. I would be like other children, become the pride of my parents. Thinking of this, a very strange smile appeared on his face. But it turned out that all of that was useless. He became more withdrawn after these things. As long as I am alive for one more day, I will always be a shameful metal in my father's life. Pichuan in the room was so desperate that he could not speak. Is the terrible nightmare in my mother's heart? Has not it only been 3 months? Why is it so cold? The scene shifted to a hospital inside the city. Yilan had successfully given birth to a baby. Li Chai had become very happy. When the baby grows up in the future, he must be a bodyguard for our adorable Dao Yao. Beaya curiously looked at the small and delicate baby before her. Mom, what is my younger brother's name? She smiled thoughtfully and replied, Your dad and I have discussed it. His full name is Beijun. Do you want to give your younger brother a nickname? Hearing this name made her very excited. His full name means to protect the country. It sounds so good. Mom, Then the nickname should be June. Mom, Elon laughed, looking at her son. I think so too. Time passed and shifted to the next morning at school. Beaya happily walked on the long corridor. Mom said that I can secretly share the matter of my younger brother's birth with my best friend. I must tell Pichuan first. Seeing Pichuan's figure sitting in the classroom made her very happy. Pichuan is here. His face was somewhat sad, making Beaya quickly pay attention. But why does he look gloomier than usual today? This made her confused. What happened? Suddenly she moved closer and handed a water bottle to Pichuan. He was surprised and turned his head. She smiled and chatted. It is still not summer. Remember to wear more in the morning. It is hot water. Keep your hands warm. Taking the water bottle in his hand, he sadly asked, Has your mom given birth to the baby yet? Beaya happily whispered in his ear, Yes, I guessed it right. It is a younger brother, not a younger sister, so tiny. Pichuan. Her voice rang out, Do you want to go see the baby with me after school? He was somewhat strange and immediately refused. I am not going. Pichuan did not forget to rummage in his desk to take out something. This is just right for your younger brother. Beaya was very curious. He reminded again, Reach out your hand. Holding the bracelet brought towards Beaya, he quickly instructed, Take it. Looking at this item in her hand made her very confused and disbelieving. Silver. Is it silver? Where did you get so much money to buy this? His face became very calm and replied, Just take it. If I give it to you, why are you asking so much? Beaya was still somewhat fearfully looking at the bracelet in her hand. But it is too expensive, Pichuan continued to reply. Tell your mom that my dad bought it. Because she was too worried, she quickly took this bracelet and brought it in front of Pichuan. No way, I can't take this. Pichuan, take it back. His attitude was also very resolute. If you do not want it, then throw it away. Beaya took the bracelet, not knowing what to do. At this moment, Wating hurriedly ran in. She called out, Yao, it is almost time for class. Are not you going back to your seat? She quickly pulled Beaya away. Let us go. I brought strawberries. She happily and excitedly recounted. We will eat together after school during lunch. Beaya secretly glanced at Pichuan's back. After seeing that she had returned to her seat, he secretly thought, Every year she prepares a gift for me, toy guns, homemade pillows, walnut beads, safety charm. He thoughtfully looked at the water bottle in his hand. But I have never given her a gift. I did not understand things when I was young. I can't give her one now that I am older. He sighed, remembering the things that had happened. The lesson from Chang Mengxian was deep enough, the name Pichuan that is stained with anything. He himself must also hate his current life, also becomes dirty, criticized by the world. He secretly remembered the bracelet was just perfect, under the guise of giving it to his younger brother. It would not make anyone gossip. On this side, Beaya was still looking at the silver bracelet, not knowing that everything was in Pichuan's calculations, and it won't tarnish her reputation. Even she herself does not understand, does not think too much. She looked at Pichuan's back, right in front of her. Coincidentally, at this moment, she also remembered all the things that had happened. Was Pichuan's mood not good today, after the matter of Chang Mengxian? The teacher had stepped into the class. She quickly rummaged for her books. No matter what emotions Pichuan has, he no longer shows them in front of me. Beaya looked at the letter right in her hand. He seemed to have grown up in just one night, and I could not keep up with his speed of growing up anymore. Without thinking much, she picked up a pen to write on the letter. I used simple English words to ask him. Looking at the letter that had been written, Beaya read it again. If he does not want to answer, I can just think of it as a game to practice common English. She carefully put the letter inside the envelope. It won't make him embarrassed. Beaya sealed the letter tightly, as if afraid that it would fall out. After school, Beaya quickly went to the post office to send this letter. She thoughtfully looked around this place. Pichuan comes here every day to pick up the fresh milk he ordered. Because she was worried, she turned her head back to look at it once more. He will definitely see this letter. She asked herself in her heart, will he reply to me? Time had shifted to the evening. Beaya sat thoughtfully by the window. It seemed that she did not have any mood to study. It has been so long. Pichuan still has not replied to me. She remembered the image of Pichuan holding the milk bottle in his hand and had discovered the letter sent to him. This made her somewhat thoughtful and unable to concentrate on studying, but he clearly took the letter, right? At the same time, the scene shifted to Pichuan's room. He carefully put the items that Beaya had given him into a box. After that, he did not forget to lock the box securely. Pichuan looked at the locked box and became relieved. these things are the same as that person. He clearly understood his mood. I must learn to ignore, learn to forget. Pichuan did not think much and immediately turned around and walked away. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Wan sitting there quietly. Looking at her sad face, it seemed that he had understood something more. Realizing that Pichuan was there, Wan was carrying a suitcase preparing to leave. Because she did not dare to tell him the truth, she forced a smile and gently instructed, Pichuan, Mom has to go on a business trip. I will be back in a few days. Remember to study hard. Of course, Pichuan had also learned all the truths. This day has finally come. Because she saw that he looked thoughtful, Wan continued to ask, do you want any gifts? Mom will bring them back for you. But in his heart he clearly knew, Mom has already been unable to wait to run to her happiness, right? He coldly replied, no, I wish you a safe trip. Just a few simple polite words of his made her heart ache. To avoid being embarrassed, Wan hurriedly turned her face in another direction. She pulled the suitcase and stepped outside. Mom is leaving. Pichuan, goodbye. The door of the room closed. The house also became pathetically cold. I have been paying for a long time. It seemed that the space here had changed, and only Pichuan was left standing there. But that door will never open again. Returning to the room, he continued to sit at the desk. Even so, I still have a little hope. He quickly listened to the conversations on the radio. She can't just be like this forever. She has to tell the child the truth. Inside the room, the conversation of the two people kept playing, I know. But is not he about to take the high school entrance exam? I have already discussed it with Pei Haobin. We will tell him after he finishes the exam. A cold sentence that hurt his heart rang out. Then, after the divorce, who will your son be with? Just thinking about these things, Pichuan angrily threw the radio to one side. For the first time in my life, I hate myself for having a talent in electronics. He had to endure the pain for a long time, and that ability made me know. The room seemed to only have a pathetically dark color that my mom, when I had not even completely grown up, had abandoned me. Time flew by to one day. The teacher's voice rang out, students, this year is the last year of your third year of high school. Have a good vacation or study hard at home. Teacher Zhang, standing on the podium, did not forget to seriously instruct the students. Pay attention to safety when you go out to play. I wish you a happy new year in advance. The students in the class cheered very lively. Teacher Zhang, happy new year to you too. We have a vacation. Looking at this scene made him laugh in surprise. They are still just 14 or 15-year-old teenagers. Hua Ting also slowly stood up and gently informed Beaya, Yao, I am leaving first. She smiled and nodded. Goodbye. Hua Ting quickly left. Beaya also slowly stood up. Pichuan stood there quietly. At this moment she stepped towards him and chatted, Pichuan, I have to go back to my hometown to eat Tet. This year, we probably won't see each other again until the spring of next year. She kept instructing him carefully. Remember to drink medicine and drink lots of water. Do not stay at home all day during Tet. You can play firecrackers with Chen Hu and those friends. He coldly nodded once. Seeing that he did not react, Beaya stepped forward. Then, I am leaving first. Her face was somewhat sad. See you next year. Suddenly, he asked, when will you be back? This proactive words made Beaya somewhat surprised. She happily turned her head and replied, my mom said probably in February. I will probably be back before school starts. I will bring local specialties for you. Remember to wait for me to come back. He still maintained the coldness on his face. Okay. Time passed. On a cold winter day, Beaya smiled and stepped forward to call out, Chen Hu, Lida. Seeing her change also surprised everyone. Beaya. She took her gift towards the two people. This is dry tea that I brought from my hometown for you guys. It is very delicious. Looking at Beya's change also made Chen Hu and Lida freeze in shock. Oh my god, she is so pretty now. Remembering something, she immediately asked back. That is right. Where's Pichuan? Why can't I see him? Zhang Hu slowly recounted everything with a sad face. Before Tet, his parents divorced. Uncle Bei was injured while on duty during Tet. Pichuan is taking care of him at the hospital. His next words also made Beaya scared and stop breathing. I heard that Uncle Bei may not wake up again. Very quickly, the scene shifted to the hospital. The woman inside the room held the basin of water and walked outside and instructed, Xiaochuan, you remember to eat. Let me go get the basin of water for your dad. For a long time, Pichuan had been sitting next to his dad's hospital bed. Yes, thank you, Auntie. The woman looked at him with a sad and somewhat sorry look. This child is so small, and his voice is hoarse. She sighed and stepped outside. What a pity. At this moment, the woman's husband angrily kept shouting, I am warning you. Do not even dream about bringing that cripple home. It is already hard enough to raise our own children with my salary. She desperately hurriedly reminded him, Keep your voice down. Pichuan is still inside, but he still did not want to give up. So what if he hears it? In short, do not even dream about it. Inside the hospital room, Pichuan had heard all of these words. Why are you so heartless? My brother helped you so much before. Her voice became somewhat hoarse. Mao Pichuan is all alone. What is wrong with taking care of him? But he was very uncomfortable. I do not have money. I can't afford to raise a cripple. If you insist on it, then let us get a divorce. Just thinking about the injustices that he had to endure made Pichuan very desperate. Dad almost lost his life for Social Security, but what will the people that Dad tried to protect do for Dad? His feelings became even more hateful towards this world. For that so-called justice, I became a cripple, Mom remarried, and Dad can only become a vegetable. Being a good person, really, is not worth it at all. Time had shifted to the late evening inside the hospital. Yilan stepped forward and brought the bag of fruit forward. Hello, we are neighbors of police officer. Hey, we came to visit him. Pichuan's aunt took the bag of fruit. Thank you, I am his younger sister, Beaya said. Mom, I will go inside first. She quickly peeked her head inside the room and called out, Pichuan, me and Mom came to visit Uncle Bay. Her face blankly looked inside at Pichuan's expression. On this side, he had also realized the growth on her face, somewhat stunned because she was too beautiful. He quickly lowered his head to hide his embarrassment. Thank you. Seeing him so strange, Beaya was somewhat confused. She gently reached out to hold Pichuan's hand. While he still did not understand what was going on, she placed a charm on his hand. This is a charm that me and my grandma went to the temple on Shuwu Mountain to ask for. She smiled gently and recounted. I heard it is very effective. I am giving it to Uncle Bay. Pichuan was somewhat surprised and looked at the charm in his hand. I hope Uncle can recover soon. Time had quickly shifted towards the evening at the hospital. In the long corridor, Yilan's voice rang out, Pichuan, then I will go first, okay? Beaya also waved goodbye. Pichuan, we are leaving. Pichuan obediently nodded, goodbye Auntie Zhao. After the two left, he slowly put the charm from Beaya under Haobin's pillow. Dad, please get up soon. Suddenly a voice rang out inside the room, Pichuan. He also slowly turned his head. The teacher quickly stepped inside, Teacher Zhang. He held a box of cake and stepped inside. I came to visit your dad, and by the way, I wanted to talk to you. Remembering something, he asked back, Teacher, you called and asked me during the summer vacation if I wanted to receive a spot for direct admission to school number 3. At that time, I refused. Recently, I have been thinking very seriously, although in Pichuan's mind there was some regret. At first, I had an appointment with her to take the exam to school number 6. Together. His voice rang out, I can't let down the school, and the teacher. Now can I still enter school? Number 3, teacher. Teacher Zhang heard this and was somewhat surprised. His face lit up. He hurriedly nodded. Of course you can. He did not forget to place the box of cake on the table and continued to pick up his bag. I came tonight to talk to you about this. I have not officially discussed it with the other side, so there is still time. Without wasting any more time, Teacher Zhang took a stack of documents from his bag. You fill out the information here. Pichuan took the stack of information and continued to ask back. Teacher, my dad is still unconscious. If I get direct admission, can I not go to school? His eyes were somewhat sadly unable to speak. I want to stay and take care of Dad. So many things had happened in his life, and I am asking you, teacher, do not tell my classmates that the school I got direct admission to is school number 3, okay? Although very surprised, Teacher Zhang still nodded in agreement. Okay. Pichuan seriously filled out the information in the stack of documents. He also slowly recounted, I will report your situation to the school. Unconsciously, he remembered the time before. He had asked Beaya, speaking of the high school entrance exam, which high school do you want to take the exam for? Beaya smiled and explained, I want to go to high school number 6, because high school number 6 is close to home. Just thinking of this made him very sad. Without me, you will be happier. Time had quickly shifted to the late evening. Inside the room rang the sound of the phone. Pichuan's voice was slow and hesitant. As he asked, who is it? Beyao's voice on the other end of the line said, Pichuan, it is Beaya. Hearing this familiar name made him somewhat stunned. Beaya. She continued to urge, "Look out the window. I have good news to tell you." He quickly stepped outside the corridor. Seeing Pichuan, Beaya happily waved and called out loudly, "Pichuan, Pichuan." Her face had become very excited. As she announced, "I got into school number 6. We can go to school together when school starts." Through the phone screen, her joyful voice was clearly expressed. "Who knows? We might even be assigned to the same class." Pichuan heard this and only thought, "School number 6. His face seemed to not have any expression. "I am going to bed." He did not forget to say briefly, "Good night." Pichuan immediately turned off the phone, making Beaya somewhat frozen. "Pichuan." He stepped inside the room and did not forget to cover the curtains. Looking at the phone on the bed, he was somewhat thoughtful. Between school number 3 and school number 6, there was only a 10-minute drive. The distance between the two people is getting further and further. It will be the furthest distance in the world. Returning to his pitch-black room, Pichuan looked at the recorder. His face was somewhat thoughtfully pondering. He quickly reached out to turn on the radio to listen to what the conversation was. Pichuan's stepmother, whose name was Kim Xiaojing's voice, rang out. "I have a daughter who is 1 year younger than your son. She is quite obedient if we really are together in the future. She will have to live with us." He slowly held a pack of cigarettes in his hand and listened. "Your son does not mind, right?" Following his habit, he slowly brought the cigarette to his mouth. Halbin's voice replied, "Xiaochuan has been lonely since he was little, and he lost his legs because of my work. I hope the two of you can be more understanding of him. As for him, then I will talk to him." He only silently listened to these sweet words of the two people. "Don't worry. Before it was because of my career that I did not care about my family. That is why it became like this today. From now on, you and your children will be the most important things in my life." Xiaojing's voice happily rang out. "Of course, I believe you." Suddenly Pichuan laughed. In his eyes there was some bitterness, not daring to face the truth. As expected, the things I cherish will eventually leave me. He gently leaned back and released a puff of smoke. "Maybe I do not need a family." The cigarette in his hand slowly fell to the ground. "I do not need a lover." There were several cigarette butts already on the ground. "I will live more comfortably."